So as we take a closer look, this tornado warning is going to be staying in effect until 4:45 p.m. So this is what we were saying all day, where the entire area is under a tornado watch, but this is a tornado warning. So Steve, he's going to zoom in and we're going to show you some of the neighborhoods. If we call out your neighborhood, it is time for you to move. You need to get down to your basement. You want to make sure you and your family are safe. So here's a closer look. If you're closer to Coatesville, Parksburg, Highland, Glenville, Russellville, West Marlboro, all of these locations here that's under this red box, East Nottingham, right now you are in a tornado warning. So we're going to switch you over to the radar. We're also going to take a closer look at our velocity mode, and that's going to actually show us where this tornado is within this area. So although we have this large polygon here that stretches from East Nottingham to the north, when we start to zoom in, that's going to show us a better view of potentially where the tornado is. So let's go ahead and freeze frame this here. Now let's switch you over into velocity mode, and we're going to try and identify where this tornado is, which direction it's tracking to, but it's probably heading to the north and also the northwest. So you have a better chance if you're closer to East Nottingham. What we're looking for is a couplet here, and that's where the green and the red starts to match up. So again, as we take a closer look, if you are just to the south of East Nottingham, you have a chance of having a tornado very close to your home. You want to make sure you are seeking cover. You want to head to your basement. You want to find a windowless room, like a bathroom, and head to it. Now, as we put a tracker on this, Steve, does it also identify the direction and how quickly this tornado is moving?
It's moving northeast at 35 miles.
So it's moving to the northeast at 35 miles per hour. So as we put a tracker on this, if you're closer to Hayesville, 420, 426 Russellville, 429 Edenton, you are all in the path of this potential tornado that is actually moving fairly quickly. So again, it's moving to the northeast, 35 miles per hour. I think we want to go right back down to where we're seeing this couplet, and that helps indicate where we potentially could be identifying a tornado. So again, oftentimes we see a really large polygon, but the tornado is basically closer to one area of the polygon, and right now we think that is East Nottingham, tracking to the northeast right around 35 miles per hour. So next up, Russellville, you still have a few minutes to take cover here. Let's put that tracker back on one more time, Steve, so we can try to identify the timing here. We do believe it's just to the south of East Nottingham. When we start to see those brighter colors like these magentas right here, you can see how it's moving. It's fairly organized here where we start to see that green and the red and then the bright colors like the magenta. So again, that's going to start tracking to the northeast, 35 miles per hour. So if you're closer to Chestnut Grove School, you need to be careful. Same thing, Buena Vista School, and this is going to head to the northeast near Highland Medical Center. So these are the areas that we are most concerned with right now. 425 here, Russellville, 426 Edenton, and it is 417 right now. So you still have a few minutes here, but this is where we have the tornado warning. It's going to be in effect until 4:45. So right now we believe it's closer to East Nottingham, and as we put the tracker on this, you can see everything is tracking to the northeast here, right around 35 miles per hour. So I'll back away so we can take a closer look at where some of the radar and the rain is. So, okay, do you switch it over?
There you go. Yeah. So what you're looking at right now is the heavy rain. Brittney, this is a radar indicated tornado, meaning it hasn't been spotted by anybody on the ground. However, the radar, as you saw on that velocity where you saw the red and the green close together, there you go. It's not your classic looking tornado on the radar picture, but there is rotation and potentially a rain-wrapped tornado in an extremely heavy downpour, Britt. You would never be able to see this tornado coming at you.
So as we take a closer look, velocity mode really does help us. I do believe it's a little bit closer to East Nottingham, tracking to the northeast. So this is how we can get around it being rain-wrapped, is looking at the velocity. That shows us some of the rotating winds. So again, we look for the green, we look for the red, coupling together, a couplet. And when you see that magenta, that's a pretty good indication that it's probably closer to East Nottingham. And again, we know it's tracking to the northeast right around 35 miles per hour. So as we look at where some of these locations are and the timing, that's going to help you be prepared and take cover. So if you're closer to Chestnut Grove School at 426, 429 Hayesville, you want to start making moves right now. 433 Pleasant View School. Hopefully everyone is already home from school. We had some early dismissals as well. Edenton 438, Fags Manor 441, 445 Highland Medical Center, and then if you're closer to Highland, 452. Now this tornado warning is in effect from anyone closer to West Nottingham all the way up to East Nottingham, and that's all tracking to the northeast. So I know this is our estimated rainfall for the past 6 hours here, but let's switch you back over and show you exactly where this tornado warning is. So again, this is staying in effect for at least another 25 minutes. We'll zoom you in and show you where some of the heaviest rain is. That's closer to East Nottingham. You can see the lightning strikes there. And the one thing we like to do is switch you over to the velocity mode. And that shows us potentially, this looks like a pretty good indication here, just to the south of East Nottingham, tracking again to the northeast. So the places that are most concerning for us includes Russellville. We also have near Coatesville here. So as this all continues to track to the northeast, these are the areas that we are definitely most concerned about. Steve, do we have any additional information from the National Weather Service?
No, actually, Brittney, the other big story with this tornado warning, it's located in a county that is getting a ton of rain. We've had a lot of flash flood warnings issued for this area and also flood warnings. So the driving conditions not only are dangerous due to the extreme winds, but we are seeing that rainfall. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go over onto Max 2, and I just want to plot some of the rainfall totals out there for you because there is the possibility that some of these roadways in that area are certainly flooded. So as we go over to the radar picture that you're normally used to seeing here, we're going to switch it over and into a mode that measures how much rainfall has fallen. And we've seen just so much rain here across parts of Chester County. So this is where the tornado warning is actually in effect, and I'll put that on here for you. And you can see that in these areas we've gotten a couple inches of rain already. So you're probably seeing flooding. I did see some reports. We are on the National Weather Service chat room, and honestly, the reports are coming in so quickly, it's hard to keep up. In Honeybrook, Chester County, we've had flooding on US 322 near Rockville, Pottstown in Montgomery County, which is on the northwest corner of Montgomery County. We've had multiple water rescues in Pottstown, Montgomery County, in Chester County, in Malvern. Flash flooding with nearly impassable roads at the intersection of Church Road and Sweetsford Road. So this is an additional threat in addition to the possibility of a tornado that is heading your way. So let's go back to the mode where you see the winds. So we call this velocity. Basically, it's a fancy word for saying winds that are moving toward and away from the radar. We're trying to see a spin, and we are in a tropical system. So sometimes these actually spin down pretty quickly, but as of the latest radar shot, it looks like there still is some spin. It's a very tiny spin, but it's near East Nottingham here on this radar picture, and it's moving to the northeast at 35 miles per hour. So we're going to put another track on that. Can't do that enough times. If you live in the path of these storms, you want to be in the lowest floor of your home, away from windows. A basement is preferable, and if you're driving, you want to be over on the side of the road. You don't want to outrun this thing. You want to put your flashers on and move over to the side. And this is obviously moving into rush hour now on this Wednesday evening. So Hayesville, 423, 426 in Russellville. Edenton, you're 428. Highland, 436. Parksburg, 440. East Fallowfield, 443, 444 in Chester County. So this is not a surprise. We have seen multiple tornado warnings to our west, and I'm going to flip this over to the radar view that you're traditionally used to seeing. But as you can see, the radar picture across the state of Pennsylvania tonight is extremely busy, and we've had some big problems in the western part of the state from the same rain band. In fact, out near Johnstown, Pennsylvania, we had a dam failure, and they're evacuating the town. That's how bad some of this rainfall is, and now we're just starting to get into these heavy rainfall rates. So what I'm going to do is actually check some of these rainfall rates out to see how heavy is this rain coming down at the moment. And Britt, if you have any new information, feel free to jump over top of me, but I do want to get these rainfall rates out. We're talking about rainfall rates near Norristown. All right, well, let's see here. We got rainfall rates, 2.5 to almost 2 6/10 of an inch of rain in an hour. So, and it will be raining for a couple of hours. So that gives you an idea of how extreme this rainfall is, in addition to that potential of some damaging winds.
And if we just switch back to Weather Computer 1, we do want to go back to the tornado warning, which will stay in effect until 4:45 p.m. So we have at least another 20 minutes or so. And right now we're in velocity mode, which it shows us the rotation of the wind. So once we have rotating winds, we have some good uplift here. That gives us a decent indicator that we potentially could be dealing with a tornado. Now, we originally were showing you that this was just to the south of East Nottingham, but it looks like it's getting closer to Russellville, Homeville. You're under this tornado warning. So if you live in these particular neighborhoods, this is your time to act. You need to head down to a basement. If you do not have a basement, you want to go to a room in your home, a closet, or maybe a bathroom that does not have any windows. You want to stay away from your windows. You do not want to be out driving. So again, we still have 20 minutes, and we are seeing some indication here just to the south of Homeville and possibly close to Route 1 here. So this could be affecting anyone that travels in these particular areas on these particular roads, and this is all tracking here to the northeast. Right around 35 miles per hour is what we were saying earlier. So now we want to just, let's zoom out a little bit just to get you a little bit more of a perspective of what we're dealing with. So let's zoom out because we want to name off some of these neighborhoods that could potentially be dealing with this. So we already mentioned East Nottingham, London Grove, and then just to the south of Coatesville. And when we start to see this velocity mode, we are looking for a couplet, which is the red and the green coupled together. And that helps us indicate that we're dealing with rotating winds here. So if we put this in motion, we were really hyper-focused on East Nottingham and seeing what could be a little bit of a rotation here, tracking again to the northeast. So as we put a tracker on this, we're going to start to show you some of the locations and some of the neighborhoods that could be dealing with some of these tornadoes or even these severe storms and these heavy downbursts here. So again, everything is tracking still to the northeast at around 35 miles per hour. Doesn't look like this touchscreen wants to cooperate, but here, we're going to put a tracker on this going basically to the northeast here. So coming out of East Nottingham, that is what we're watching for you. So
I'll give it another shot.
Okay.
Tool that we have. Let's see if this works. All right, so let's put that same track on here and see if we can put this up here. This tornado moving off to the northeast at about 35 miles per hour. If the storm holds together, it may go into areas of Montgomery County. And actually, hold on, I just want to go see what this is off to the west. This looks like it is a flash flood emergency. So this is a flash flood emergency. This is just outside our viewing area. It looks like it's in Lancaster County, but a flash flood emergency means it is a catastrophic flood situation, and that is not far to our west. So we'll get back to the tornado warning, but just know if we have a flash flood emergency to our west and that rain is coming east, we may have some significant problems with that. I was showing you those rainfall rates of about 2.5 inches per hour. If we could go over to Max 2, I do have a camera pulled up. This is our presidential camera. Let's get to that right now. There you go. And you can see this is the Schuylkill Expressway at the Boulevard right now. And as you can see, this is rush hour. The severe storms just to the west of here. But this is what I'm concerned about. A line of potentially tornadic storms moving through Philadelphia and our suburbs during rush hour. You don't want to be in your car. So if you have friends, family, maybe they can hang out at work till a little later on tonight, or make sure that they're really hightailing at home, because these severe storms are definitely capable of producing tornadoes even in closer to Philadelphia. Why am I showing you the temperatures? This is playing a key role into our severe weather threat. It's near 80 degrees right now across parts of Philadelphia, but if you look off to the north and west, there's a huge drop off in temperatures. It's 66 in Allentown, 68 in Reading. What these storms are doing are riding along this temperature boundary, and this makes them favorable for potentially producing some isolated strong tornadoes. Back on the 29th of July, we were dealing with that, some long track strong tornadoes, and that corridor is right from Wilmington to Philadelphia. So just because you're not getting that severe weather right now, you need to be on guard. Rainfall totals have been all over the place. We had that morning thunderstorm that moved through Philadelphia, dumping a half an inch. Look at Reading, you're almost up to 3 inches of rain. A lot of this has fallen in about 2 hours worth of time. So that is really just not a good situation. You can see the situation up in Allentown. So let's get you back to the tornado warning back on our screen here to show you what you should be doing. So if you live in a high rise, the best option is go to your bathroom. Because some of these tornadoes could be on the stronger side, I'd encourage you, if you live in an apartment building, to go into the fire escape stairwell. That would be the safest place to do because some of the windows may be blown out by some of these high winds. If you live at home, a central room, the idea is to get as many walls between you and the outside as possible. The tornadoes usually rip away the periphery of your house first, and obviously staying away from windows. Gather your kids. Also take your phone with you. We will be clearing neighborhoods, and if you lose power, you can stream us, but we'll let you know when you're in the clear. But there's going to be multiple rounds of potential tornado warnings. So just because the tornado warning was lifted in your community doesn't mean we couldn't have another one or two tonight. That's the kind of severity we're dealing with. There's the conditions again. So Britt, I'm going to allow you to go back over to the radar here. Again, it's a warm, muggy evening. My greatest concern for the potential tornadoes, Britt, is in and around Philadelphia, northern Delaware, and into central New Jersey, and we haven't even gotten the storms in this spot yet.
And if we just go back to Max 1, we do want to go back to the tornado warning, which is in effect for another 15 minutes. They have not canceled it, the National Weather Service, so that means there's still a concern here. And as we take a closer look, we're basically trying to identify a couplet here, and near Russellville there is a little bit of rotation, and like we mentioned, everything is tracking to the northeast right around 35 miles per hour. So at this time we like to go over all of the neighborhoods. If you're under this tornado warning, we always say now is the time to move. So this includes areas like
go ahead, you can
Partsburg, this includes Coatesville,
there you go.
Yeah, that includes areas like Parksburg. We want to name off Phillipsville, Highland, Glen Rose, Coatesville. You're just outside of that tornado warning. But again, the concern is still there until this tornado warning expires, which is not for another at least 15 minutes. You want to be taking cover. So you were giving some really good tips for people to remember, which includes heading to the lowest level in your home, like your basement. But this is still in effect. And
so we also want to let our viewers know that we are simulcasting this on KYW News Radio for a lot of people in their cars right now. So if you are in your car and you're listening to us, or if you're streaming us right now, to give you the basic perspective of where it is really bad right now: Chester County, Delaware County, Montgomery County, up through the Lehigh Valley. We saw Stephen Fisher up in Allentown near the Lehigh River. Britt, I think there is a flood warning now for the Lehigh River. I saw come through the chat room. So things are really escalating very quickly across the area. So go back to this home view. Oh, I got a new tornado alert here.
Right, and we have one that's just about to move into Sussex County as well. So we have the same one that's still over parts of Chester County. That's the only one I am finding right now.
So we'll watch the storm system. It's not showing the classic signature, but it is showing the signature there, and certainly enough that it can blow out some windows, knock down some trees, and cause a lot of problems. Not to mention, when I was on KYW News Radio talking to them, the traffic report before me, there are huge problems right now on Highway 30 right now, moving through Chester County with extremely intense rainfall rates. People pulled over to the side of the road. And at this rate, we're going to have some water rescues if people don't get off the road. Remember, you're also putting the authorities that come rescue you, you're putting their lives on jeopardy too in some of these situations. So I see you have the velocity up, Britt, here. There's a tornado warning box. Just to make it simple for you, we're looking for this red line. A lot of colors on this map. It starts to get a little messy, but in this box, we're talking about the rotation in here. And sometimes it loosens up and then tightens back up again. What that means is the storm will have a tornado, then it kind of produces some damaging winds, and then kind of just cycles through again. So you may get a little bit of a pause, but the fact that they have that tornado warning still out is a sign that this circulation is still intact and still going to produce potential problems. So I'm going to put another cone on here as we work that circulation up to the north and east. And then Britt, if you have anything to add after this.
And the latest information from the National Weather Service has it increasing in intensity a little bit and also in its wind speed. So now it is moving to the northeast at 40 miles per hour. Before it was around 35 miles per hour. So these are quick moving rotations that are going to continue to track here to the northeast. If you're anywhere underneath this tornado warning box, you want to be taking action right now to make sure you and your family is staying safe. And that includes heading to the lowest level in your home, a basement, heading to a room that does not have windows. If you don't have a basement, we suggest a closet or a bathroom. So these are the locations. So we're talking Parksburg and also Parksburg School, and that's at 4:38. So this tornado warning is going to stay in effect until 4:45 p.m. And the National Weather Service has extended it. So that means they're still concerned about this cell that is continuing to move through these particular neighborhoods.
It's funny, when you turn that over to the reflectivity mode, you would never be able to see it. So we have different channels on our radar, just like you have different channels on your TV. So we flipped it over to the channel that you're used to seeing. You would never even know there's a tornado there. There's no classic hook here, but there is a circulation embedded in this. And this is very common with tropical systems. Remember, we're dealing with the remnants of Ida, and so this is one of your tropical-like tornadoes. The concern is, as these storms move east, these tornadoes could intensify. It's merging in with another system, and so that's why we're really concerned. We may be on with you a long time here tonight, giving you updated tornado warnings, because we are just getting into the situation right now. It's going to be a very long evening. So what we're going to do now, so we know we have that tornado warning till 3:45. We're going to toss it over to Tracy and Jacqueline to see if they have any new information coming in at this moment.
Steve, we know you and Brittney were going over the precautions and what people should do if they are in this area of a tornado warning. We want to go over that because we have some graphics that can go along with what you were describing, Steve. Thank you. If we can put those graphics on the screen, if possible. If people are in this area of Chester County, this tornado warning extends until 4:45. Just like Steve and Brittney were saying, if you're at home, go to a basement. Stay away from any higher levels of your home. If you do not have a basement, take shelter in a small interior room in the center of your house, such as a closet or a bathroom. Often, Tracy, we see the bathtubs, and when roofs are blown off, and often the bathtub is what is remaining, so that is a very secure structure.
And really, we've been saying it all day. In fact, we started saying it yesterday, but if you haven't lost power, charge your devices so you can keep track of this. You can see on our NBC10 app exactly what our meteorologists are seeing. Right now, what you're seeing here, that's a live look at Wilmington, and you can see the rain coming down and how dark those clouds are. Also want to give you a heads up. Steve was talking about what was happening on Route 30, how there was a backup. There is ponding and flash flooding on the roads right now. And you heard Governor Wolf say, look, if you don't have to be on the roads, don't be out there. KYW News Radio has a picture of a crash on 76 westbound approaching 202 in King of Prussia. Again, water is coming, the rain is coming down, it's ponding. You don't know, if you're going too fast and you hit it, or if you see on these side streets and you think, I can make it, how many times do we have to say, turn around, don't drown? That's why there are water rescues underway. We heard earlier water rescues going on in Berks County. There's also water rescues underway in Pottstown because people are out driving. They do think, oh, I can drive through this, but the water is rising so quickly that you get there and then you can't.
And it's impossible to anticipate just how deep those waters are if you're attempting to drive through it and you think you can make it, and you can find yourself in a very dangerous situation. We know some of our areas will get minor flooding, some will get moderate, and others will receive major flooding. We knew this would start at 4 p.m., almost right on the dot. It did. Expected to continue until midnight, the most severe weather, but a lot of this rain is not going to exit until early tomorrow morning. Philadelphia and the suburbs could see 2 to 4 inches, and flash flooding, as we know, is one of the biggest issues in our area when it comes to loss of life, as well as loss of property. And so many of our areas dealt with a lot at the end of July.
And that's what we have to get through right now. And then we look to the river flood warnings for tomorrow as things rise. But we're going to keep you updated on that tornado warning in Chester County until it expires, because we want to keep you safe. Brittney?
Yeah, so here's, we're going to paint the big picture for you so you understand what's going on. We have an incredibly active radar right now. We have flash flood warnings, 3 different ones, basically the entire north and west suburbs, stretching all the way up to the Lehigh Valley, Berks County, where you see the green outline. Those are flash flood warnings. We already have reports of different water rescues. On top of that, we're watching a tornado warning that is near Chester County. And then just take a look right outside of Sussex County. There's 3 different tornado warnings. So there are severe cells that are basically tracking into our region that are either going to head into Sussex County or parts of Kent County. So we're watching that closely. The next thing we have is a flash flood emergency that's getting closer and closer to our coverage area as well. And we even have a severe thunderstorm warning that is also close to Chester County. So let's go in right now and still focus on the tornado warning, which we have been telling you is going to stay in effect until 4:45 p.m., which is another at least 6 minutes or so. So we like to query this to see if the National Weather Service has changed it or canceled it. And right now it is still in effect for another 6 minutes. The other thing we like to do is we pause this, we switch you from our reflectivity mode to our velocity mode, and that tends to show us if there's any rotation with wind speeds coming through into the radar. And right now it's a little hard to see here, but earlier it looked a little clearer, closer to East Nottingham. We know that all of these cells are traveling quickly, moving to the north at about 40 miles per hour. So what we like to do is at least show you the different neighborhoods that are specifically within this tornado warning. And so if you live closer to Parksburg, heads up to you. You want to be seeking shelter. If you know anyone that travels on 41 or the 10 or 926, you want to call them and tell them to be very careful, because right now they are under this tornado warning. One thing that we have noticed in the last 10 minutes or so is the fact that this tornado warning has continued to track to the north, which means earlier Russellville was under the tornado warning, but that particular neighborhood has been canceled. So as this continues to track to the north, as these cells, you can kind of see the little rotation there. As it continues to track to the north here, some of the neighborhoods will be dropped from the tornado warning. So Russellville, you do not have to worry. We were definitely calling out your name earlier. Homeville, you're basically in the clear as well. And so the only places that are left within this warning, if we just take a closer look, is areas like Highland, Partsburg, you are still under this tornado warning. West Salisbury under this tornado warning, and this just to the south of Phillipsville. So if you live in these neighborhoods, if I've called out your neighborhood, you want to turn up your TV so you can still hear us, or hopefully you have our app downloaded, and then go to a shelter or a windowless room in your home, a closet or a bathroom. But again, we still have at least another, I would say 3-4 minutes of this tornado warning still in effect. Steve, have we heard anything else from the National Weather Service? We know that this was tracking to the north at about 40 miles per hour. So the only neighborhoods we still have, Highland, Glenville, you are still under this tornado warning. And then just to the south of Cole Hill, but it is possible that you could be included in this in the next 10 minutes or so if the National Weather Service thinks that this cell is going to stay organized enough and include different neighborhoods that are basically just to the north of where we have this tornado warning in effect. Because oftentimes, Steve, we start to see these cells staying pretty well organized, and they continue to track to the north, and we see the National Weather Service extend this into some of our northern neighborhoods.
Yeah, so Brittney, another area that we're watching, we do neighborhood weather here, is down in the state of Delaware tonight. So if we go over to Max 2, I want to show you what's going on down here. We're keeping a very close eye on some storms that are down in the Maryland border. These are all tornado warnings right now, and this is making a beeline toward Sussex County, Delaware. Now, the environment that these storms are moving in is very favorable for producing a potential tornado. It's very warm, it's very muggy, and these storms are thriving on that boundary of the warmer air and the cooler air off to the north and west. So you're gonna see this warning in Chester County expire here in probably about 2 minutes. But then we got to keep an eye on this storm as it moves to the north and east. Strong circulation here. And the problem with these storms down in Maryland, they've had a history of producing funnel clouds and potentially some reported tornadoes down there just in the DC area. So this whole band is coming up. So to give you the big picture, this is coming in chunks of rain. So we have this first band of rain with heavy rain, thunderstorms, some isolated severe weather. It's this one. This is kind of the main show right now that's happening across our suburbs. And I do want to draw your attention to the warnings that are in place right now, because there are a lot of warnings going on right now across our area. So you take the radar off this picture, and look, it's lit up like a rainbow here. You got the flash flood emergency in Lancaster County, the western part of the county. Then you have a severe thunderstorm warning on the eastern side of the county, which a lot of people from Chester County drive over there. You have the tornado warning for a few more minutes in Chester County, and then you have the green. And this is a serious situation. I know we've had a lot of flooding. You can get desensitized to this. Our ground cannot handle the the rainfall rates that are occurring. And I actually got a text message from my mom that the power is flickering up in Sellersville with some of those stronger winds. It's going on and off, so that kind of shows you what's going on out there, especially across to the north and west. This is our target zone, New Jersey. I know you're not getting much. You're looking out the window, you're like, this is not going to happen. This will all start to move off to the east here as the evening moves on. Stephen Fisher was not in a flash flood warning earlier. Now he is in Allentown, all across that area. The rain intensity is ramping up. The visibility is not good. Stay off the roads if you can. Really make this easy on yourself. We've been through this a lot of times this summer. If you can just avoid being on the roadways through about midday tomorrow, that's a good idea. Now, as we take a look at the live lightning, we're starting to see a pulse up of lightning here. This is kind of a red flag for us. When we see the lightning pulsing up, that can be a sign that a thunderstorm is really starting to ramp up in intensity and potentially some kind of wind damage and or circulation. So let's go over to the velocity mode and see if we have any kind of spinning. This looks like some potentially damaging winds. It looks actually there was some spinning right here. So let's zoom into that. That was a pretty tight circulation. So at the very least, some damaging winds. And I want to get the neighborhoods that this is moving through. That will move through. So it looks like just north of Norristown through the Bluebell area. It looks like now moving into, this is Bedminster, so this is Bucks County. So this is County Line Road here between Montgomery and Bucks County, and that's moving into the Chalfont area and eventually Doylestown, but some potentially damaging winds. And I'm also noticing this right here.
And also, Steve, the tornado warning was, it looks like it has been canceled for Chester County, so at least we can.
I'm concerned about this one north of Warrington, to be honest with you. We'll see what that is. It's hard to say. Anyway, there could be potentially some damaging winds and some rotation with this one near 202. Not a strong indicator there, but the atmosphere, again, is ripe that these things could change in literally just 30 seconds or a minute. So we have no more tornado warnings in effect right now. Let's just go back to the home app just to make sure and get the alerts here. And there we go. Here are the latest alerts. Okay, so no tornado warnings. We have flash flood warnings. So if we want to return back to the newscast, we can, or keep going.
Yeah, the next thing that we'll probably be watching is what's happening near Sussex County. This could cross over, so it's still going to be a very active night. So we'll keep you updated. We'll keep you posted. We'll be here all through the night.
And we just don't want people to let their guard down. So the overnight flooding situation first comes from the flash flooding, right, which occurs really quickly. But all those people that live near streams and rivers that have already been through it this year, this could even be worse than all those events.
And this is also a good reminder, the entire area is under a tornado watch, but the big difference between when we say watch and when we say warning is that it's time to move. Once you hear a warning, if we start calling out your neighborhood, it's time for you to enact your safety plan. So we will continue to watch these.
Just checking to see if there's anything more downstream. Okay, so it looks like this is our main chunk of severe weather. This is going to take several hours. This storm is not whipping on by. It's coming through in pieces, and so there you go. 2 flash flood emergencies. This is the one that I was talking about earlier in western Pennsylvania, evacuating thousands of people as a dam failure happened out there. So these are the kinds of situations that you get when the rainfall is this intense. You pair that with a tornado threat, not good. And we're telling some people to go to their basement, but their basement may be flooding.
It's the 3 threats that we're watching. It's the flash flooding, severe storms, which could cause power outages, and then the third thing is the tornado risk. So we'll have more details coming up. We'll send it back to Jacqueline and Tracy. And we just saw a tornado warning cross over into part of our viewing area. So you can see it right there just to the south of Dover. So we have a plethora of different warnings that are in effect between flash flood warnings, tornado watches. But we definitely want to start focusing on the tornado warning that is now in effect closer to Kent County. So you can see it right here. Let's get a closer look at what we're dealing with. This was one of the cells that we were watching earlier. We knew this would probably have a great potential of crossing over into our region. If you're closer to Bridgeville, now is the time for you to take cover. So what we like to do is call off a lot of our different neighborhoods within these tornado warnings. Now this one is going to stay in effect for 45 minutes. So we will be tracking this for the next 45 minutes until it expires. We want to get a little bit, we have a second one that just came up as well. Okay, so let's get a little closer to just to the north of Dover, and we just have to start calling off some of the neighborhoods here. Smyrna, you're under this tornado warning. Hartley, you're under this as well. So we have two at the same time. This one is going to stay in effect until 5:45. So let's track the first one. We'll switch you over into velocity mode here. What we're basically looking for is some sort of couplet, which is when the red and the green match up together. That's a good indication that we have rotating winds. So we are not really getting a clear indication at this time. Potentially it could be right here just outside of Delaware, so not quite yet in the Hartley region. But this is tracking, it looks like it's tracking to the northeast here. I'm not sure how fast it's moving. Steve, can you look on the National Weather Service chat? Did they issue how fast it's moving?
It's kind of confusing because there's two of these warnings. I believe this one is moving northeast at 40 miles per hour. So I'll put that into the cone for us so we can do a track for that. Editing the speed. We have to edit the speed of each storm because all these storms are moving at a different speed. So you can go ahead, Brett, if you want to draw that cone on there.
And you'll hear me oftentimes bring Steve in because that's just something that we cannot look at. That's something that the National Weather Service puts on the chat that we can't see. We need to know how fast this is moving so we can adjust it and put a tracker on it. So now that we know that, it is moving, what did you say, 40 miles per hour,
40
Steve?
miles per hour.
So these are moving really fast. These are moving quickly. So this is moving to the northeast. It looks like it's just to the north of Henderson. Do you see where we have the red and we have the green? So it is still just outside of Delaware, which is good news for us because it gives you a little bit more time to move. So if you were closer to Immaculate Conception Catholic Church, Wright's Crossroads, the timing on that is 5:08. So you have about 5 minutes to take cover to head down to your basement. Ford's Corner, this is closer to 5:14. And then Wigville, you're closer to 5:18. Again, this entire area, all the neighborhoods we've been listing, are under this tornado warning until 5:45. So we have at least 40 minutes to watch this storm as it continues to track here to basically the northeast, moving at 40 miles per hour. Oftentimes with these tornado warnings, anyone that is further to the north and the east, they have more time to move. So you can see how the cone is basically situated to head to the northeast. So we focus really on where the storm is right now, and that's to the south of Hartley. And that gives us a little bit more time for all of the neighborhoods that are to the northeast to get prepared, head to your basement. Smyrna's included in that. You'll have a little bit more time than areas like Hartley, Marydale, Chapeltown. This is just one of the tornado warnings. Steve, let's go ahead and fly a little bit to the south and show you the second one, which is closer to Sussex County. That's our second one that's in effect.
There we go. This one, oh, there. I think this is the rotation right here. Well, this is definitely one of them right here.
Yeah,
that
do
you're
you see it?
Right here. So we're going to circle that for you.
Of Hurlock, right there. So not quite yet in Sussex County, which gives us a little bit more time, like I mentioned, for you to get prepared. But we also start to put a tracker on this one. If you query this one, Steve,
this one's moving at 30, so I'm going to adjust the speed.
So this one's moving a little slower.
Just want to make sure that we have our warning straight here because there's two in a very
two different ones. I know it gets a little confusing, but we basically have two, one in Kent County, one in Sussex County. And these cells that we track, the National Weather Service watches these cells and then they issue a tornado warning. So each one is moving at a different speed. So we have to manually adjust how fast they're moving.
All right, so
then we put a tracker on this one.
Yeah,
this one you said is moving at 30 miles per hour, right?
This one is 40 and the other one is 30. So let's redraw those cones there. It was confusing because we literally had the same counties but different tornado warnings. So let's draw this one. This is the 40 mile per hour storm moving off to the north and east. Let's give you those exact times here. I'm going to draw this on for Britt so she can walk you through. It's moving generally in this direction. So there you go. There are your latest counts.
If you're closer to Bridgeville, that is 5:29. You want to make sure you're taking cover. At least you have a little bit of time here because we're watching this come out of Maryland heading our way. Greenwood, same thing. You have even more time, 5:34. So this entire tornado warning for these areas in effect until 5:45 this evening. So that's the first one that we want to show you. The second one is actually closer to Kent County. So let's take a closer look at that one. Dover, large city, you are under this tornado warning until 5:45 as well. So as we look, you can see it's moving to the northeast. This one as well, Steve, is this one moving at 30? You said if the other one's at 40?
So I'm going to redraw the cone for the speed of this one. There we go. So we have it. Let's put it on the what we call the velocity mode. You've heard this now a lot this summer. Velocity is wind, and get an idea of where this potential circulation
There we
is.
go.
So there we
You
go.
can
It's
see
in
it.
this area. It's loosened up just a little bit, but it's still definitely the circulation is there. So let's put the cone on.
We do look for that couplet. And Steve, one thing that's also concerning to us is when we start to see these roadways, which means people are not watching TV, they're probably out driving, and they might not know that they are under a tornado warning. So if you live in this area and you know anyone driving around this time, you want to give them a call, give them a heads up, let them know that they're under a tornado warning for at least another almost 40 minutes. So if you live within this polygon, if you were closer to Ford's Corner, 513, you have about 6 minutes. 519 for Kenton, Brentford, 526, Clayton at 528, Smyrna at 531. So again, as the cone extends to the northeast, oftentimes the cell that we're watching is right at the beginning of the polygon. So you have a little bit more time to get prepared here, but we definitely have 2 different tornado warnings that are in effect over Delaware at this time. One Dover is included, and this second one is just outside of Georgetown.
Britt, what I'm going to do is I'm going to zoom in because we have our listeners on KYW News Radio that are probably driving. Some of them drive out of Philadelphia this time of night and down into the state of Delaware. So let's just spill off some road names that are in the potential of this tornado path. So it's down near Hartley on 44 and 11, but there you go. There are the other roads. 13, obviously one of your bigger roads. 1, I've been up and down it myself many times. Main thoroughfare through southern Newcastle and into Kent County, and a lot of blinding downpours with the 2, Britt.
Yes, absolutely. And so just to recoup, and so everyone knows what we are tracking here, it is 2 different tornado warnings. I'm going to query both of them, Steve. So we have one here that's in Sussex County. That's in effect still until 5:45. We have a second one that includes Dover, and that one is in effect until 5:45. So we have a while to go where we are watching a particular cell. Let's switch over to the velocity mode, and we can actually zoom into this first one, and we'll show you.
Hold on, let me get that back for you.
Okay.
There was a very tight velocity signature there.
And so what we continue to try to explain is that oftentimes the National Weather Service issues it on a polygon on these particular neighborhoods. We know that it's tracking to the north. And so what we know is that people that are a little bit further away from the cell have a little bit more time to get prepared. So we can oftentimes zoom right in and show you exactly where we think the cell is. So it's still just technically just outside of our viewing area, but it's going to be crossing over soon and heading into these neighborhoods, which is why these neighborhoods are under the tornado warning until 5:45. So the places that need to be concerned, this is technically outside of our neighborhood here, but Chorman, right around 5:38, this tornado could potentially be moving into your direction. And the other thing with this one is it's moving quickly. These are both moving anywhere between 30 to 40 miles per hour, tracking to the north. So we have 2 different tornado warnings. Let's go ahead and zoom in on the one, Steve, that's closer to Dover at this time, so we can take a closer look at where that one's tracking.
And when I do that, I just want to read off a new storm report. So we were on, Britt, for that tornado warning in Chester County. We have had some new reports now come in of reports near Oxford, possibly a tornado. There's been multiple reports of damage in and around Oxford, Chester County. So that was that storm that we were tracking for you live on the air, that circulation. We're now starting to get reports that there was a potential tornado with that or straight line winds. They'll have to go out with damage survey, but there's a lot of damage in Oxford tonight in Chester County.
Yeah, and we're just watching here, just potentially to the south of Kenton. So it's one thing for us to have the polygon for the tornado warning. It's another for us to really be able to identify potentially where some of the rotation is. And those are the places that need to be the most concerned, and that's just to the south of Kenton at this time. It is moving to the north here. So the next step you need to be concerned is areas like Smyrna, potentially Cheswold as well. We wind out the picture for you. I think
they actually just canceled this the Kent County storm. So the canceled for Caroline, Kent, and Queens, so in Maryland. So this looks like it's just for Kent County, Delaware.
Yeah.
Kind of confusing because there's a Kent County, Maryland that's right next to it. Kent County, Delaware is still in play right now.
So this one's still in play, and this is still going to be in effect until about 5:45 p.m. unless that has changed, but we can query it and see. We still have about 30 more minutes. So let's take a closer look at exactly where the sail is. You can see a little bit here where some of the green and the red are matching up, and so that tends to give us a good indication that that is potentially where some of the rotation is. And again, it's to the south of Kenton, but if you're closer to 15, this could be crossing over, so you could be dealing with really strong wind speeds or even the potential for a tornado. This could bring down power lines, this could bring down trees as well. So this is, a developing situation for us, and we still have at least another 30 minutes or so where this is going to be a concern for any neighborhoods that are in this particular polygon, that this warned area here. Those locations include, let's get as close as we can, Brentford, if you're closer to Smyrna, Big Oak Corners, Lawndale, Clayton, Smyrna, we already mentioned. Any of these highways, Route 1, 13, if you know anyone traveling closer to those locations, they want to be very careful as well. 7 Hickories, you were included under this tornado warning. Steve Sosna, do we have any additional information from the National Weather Service? Have they updated anything?
Not on the tornado warning, but I want to draw your attention to a concerning situation that's happening in the suburbs right now. If we could go over to Max 2, and show you some of the rainfall plots. Now, if you joined us at 4 o'clock this afternoon, you saw that we had a couple inches of rain in some spots. Within the last hour, look at how these rainfall totals have jumped, and this is during rush hour. 5.5 inches of rain, that's almost a half a foot of rain near East Goshen. To the north of there, this looks like it's right around the Valley Forge Park area, over 5 inches of rain. Look how this has just grown. This was just green, a couple pockets of yellow. Within an hour's worth of time, this is just as dangerous as being in a tornado, these flash flood situations. And we've gotten numerous reports already now of water rescues up in Pottstown, Chester County. So we're not trying to downplay the situation down in Delaware. That location is still in the threat of tornado, but this is a hugely populated area during the middle of a rush hour right now with heavy torrential rain. Not to mention, I've been watching in the chat room, these flood warnings, Britt, for these rivers are already being issued now. So that means that the rivers are rising very quickly. So anybody that lives near some of those streams, those rivers that traditionally flood, talking about the Brandywine Creek, Neshaminy Creek, all those places, this is going to be an ongoing situation and probably only gets worse.
Yes, and I do want to go back to the big picture here, and we'll switch you back to Weather Computer 1. The big picture is that we have a lot happening on our radar. We have flash flood warnings for north and west.
We get new information yet.
We also have 2 different tornado warnings as well.
In Philadelphia, Britt, we now have a severe thunderstorm warning with a possible tornado tagged in the warning.
Okay, let's take a look. This severe thunderstorm warning for parts of Philadelphia, this is going to stay in effect until 6 o'clock. So we have at least 45 minutes. If you live in this tornado or this severe thunderstorm warning watch box, you want to stay weather aware. Severe thunderstorm warning alone is fairly dangerous. It could still bring down trees and power lines. Let's switch over to velocity. Although we do not have a specific tornado warning within this severe thunderstorm warning, we like to take a look ourselves as meteorologists and see if we can identify any type of rotation.
This storm also, Britt, is moving at 55 miles per hour. So the speed that you drive on the roadway, and sometimes when they move that fast, that momentum actually can come down to the ground. They're forecasting 60 mile per hour wind gusts with this, but also, as we saw, a potential tornado tagged in it. It's not a tornado warning, but meaning the storm is spinning, it's showing signs of rotation, and could drop a tornado at any time.
So we have that. I think I just saw. Is there one? I think I just saw one for Philadelphia. Let me clear it. Let's widen it out.
Got a lot of colors going on right now.
Yes, the radar is getting a little messy. Yes, there is another tornado warning. It looks like this potentially is over Philadelphia at this time.
Yes.
There we go, right here. And let me go ahead and query it, Steve, and see how long this is going to stay in effect until.
This one is in effect until 5:45. Oh,
yes, and you're probably hearing your phone go off if you live in the Philadelphia area. We are now under a tornado warning within Philadelphia. When we have these tornado warnings, now is the time for you to move. You want to make sure you and your family is staying safe. That includes heading to a basement. If you live in a high rise, you want to head into the safest part of the building. Oftentimes that's going to be your stairwell. So as we are taking a closer look.
Actually, let's look at some of the cameras, Britt. Let's see if we can.
Yeah, do we want to pull in some of the cameras?
Yeah,
but also we're looking at this heavy rain right here just outside of Chester crossing over. Let's go ahead first before we take a look at the cameras. I want to switch over to velocity mode. I want to pause it here because we do want to see where the potential rotation is because we want to make sure everyone's staying safe. It is not that often that we see a tornado warning issued for this large of an area here. Chester is included in this. Philadelphia just to the south of Abington as well. And so as we start to take a closer look, potentially, Steve, do you think, let's look at just
actually, so I'm looking at it on another source right now, and I definitely see the rotation here. If we go in, and you're just starting to see it, Britt, it's
just
right
to the north of
right
Chester
in
here, yes, near Upper Darby. So again, if you live anywhere here, and this is also affecting people driving near Route 1 there.
Yeah,
just
this is a
outside of
very
Media.
Heavily populated area. This
Steve, check the National Weather Service chat. See if they're putting a wind direction and wind speed on that for us.
Yeah, so this is moving northeast at 50 miles per hour. So this is, I think, part of that same storm, but they've narrowed it down to this part with a tornado warning, 50 miles per hour moving off to the north and east. So I'll put that new speed in your cone, Britt, so you've got that for you.
But this is the area that we're concerned about. This is just outside of Media. It's just to the north here of Chester. It's just outside of Upper Darby.
There you go.
And the direction on that, is it to the east or is it the northeast from the National Weather Service?
Northeast at 50.
Okay, so northeast at 50 miles per hour. So if you're anywhere within this tornado warning, you need to enact your safety plan. That includes going to a basement. If you live in a high rise, which is possible because Philadelphia is under this tornado warning, you want to go into maybe your stairwell, anywhere that does not have any windows. Maybe it's your bathroom in your building. So again, this is a very dangerous situation when we have a tornado warning that has now been issued for Philadelphia. We are identifying some sort of rotation here as we start to see the red and green coupling together, and that's right outside of Upper Darby, but this is moving really fast. Did we put the tracker on it to see where it's heading next?
What I want to do also, Britt, is just go over to the alerts real quick because this is not only Philadelphia County. Look at the swath of this. This is now Chester County. So this is part of Delaware County with the city of Chester. It looks like all through Delco, through Montgomery County, lower Montgomery County, and into Center City, Philadelphia. I mean, you obviously heard the alerts go off on our phones. There's Broad Street right here, up and down Philadelphia. That is where this tornado warning is. So the storm is down here, but it's projected to go in this direction. So that's why you see the box drawn this way. The storm is moving northeast at 50 miles per hour. So I have that in there for you, Britt, if you want to do the cone.
Yeah, so let's take a look at where we think potentially we're starting to see a little rotation here, and that's near Swarthmore, near Upper Darby, even potentially near Haverford. So let's track this. You said you updated it to move at around 50 miles per hour. I think we've switched now into, okay, there we go. We're back to velocity. And so as we put a little tracker on this, let's go ahead and highlight that and just show you moving to the northeast here. So anywhere under this cone, we're talking Marion, we're talking Allen Lane, White Marsh, Abington. You want to make sure you are taking cover until this tornado warning has expired. We have this in effect at least until 5:45 p.m. We have another 25 minutes or so. It's looking a little busy, so let's go ahead and just reset and clear this and show you. We actually have 3 different tornado warnings that are in effect right now, so it is a lot to go over, but there's one in Philadelphia, there's one for parts of Dover, and there is another one near Sussex County. So if you live in any of these locations, you want to stay weather aware at this time. You want to be very careful. You want to get your plan together. You maybe head to your basement here. If you're in the Philadelphia area, this is, again, staying in effect until 5:45 p.m. and Philadelphia is included. I'm sure you heard your phone go off. Maybe you can turn up your TV, keep your phone with you so you can see this and you can be tracking this.
Radar is also indicating half-inch size hail, so that's about penny-sized hail with this storm system. So if you're hearing dings on your windshield or your windows, there is hail and also some lightning with this storm. Not a whole lot of lightning, but as this storm moves off to the north and east. And rainfall rates with this one are in the 2 to 3 inch per hour. So this is probably another rain-wrapped tornado. You probably won't see this coming at you. It's relatively small in size. So if you live in this box and you've been alerted and you're not seeing any winds, well, there's a chance you may not, but you have to act like that storm will pass over you. We draw these boxes, the Weather Service, because these storms can deviate just a little bit. So yeah, these towns are super important if you live in lower Montgomery County, Delaware County, and into Philadelphia County. Please, lowest floor of your home, away from windows. And Britt's zooming in right now, and you can see all that heavy rain too.
Yeah, because we want to take a
go
closer
along
look.
with it.
We want to get you as close as possible here.
And guys, we want people to be aware that this has moved from a watch to a warning situation right here in Philadelphia, right, Brittney and Steve?
Yes, and we've
Yes.
been talking all afternoon and evening about the difference between a watch. The whole area is under a watch, but when we start to see a warning, we have a warned area. You have this box here over Philadelphia. That means the National Weather Service has identified a thunderstorm cell that could produce a tornado. That means it is happening. We have all the ingredients together, and now it's just a matter of us tracking exactly where this is. So
That circulation, Britt, I'm looking at this on another source here. It looks like it's near Drexel Hill.
Yep.
So just west of Drexel Hill, moving toward communities like Bryn Mawr, Ardmore, Penwyn, Gladwin. So if you live in those neighborhoods, this storm is headed in your direction. You may not have a lot of wind right now, maybe pretty calm, but this will ramp up very quickly. At the very least, probably some damaging winds with this, and as radar is indicating, a tornado.
yes, and this is tracking, like you mentioned, it is moving to the northeast at 50 miles per hour. So this is moving quickly. You don't have as much time to move here. So Haverford, you need to be taking cover. If you're closer to Roxborough, if you're near Marion, you mentioned White Marsh, and then just to the south of Norristown as well. And we haven't even discussed, we've been focusing a lot on this tornado warning in Philadelphia, but we have in it another tornado warning to tell you about in Dover. Steve, do you want to handle this tornado warning, and I'll get some more information on
Sure.
Philadelphia. We'll clear this here, and then let's take a closer look. There's two more to tell you about, one over Dover, and then also one near Sussex County. So this one is still, looks like, in effect until
And this one was 30 miles per hour, I
5:45
believe. So I
p.m.
just want to make sure my cones
So
have the right
let's get it
speed. So
closer.
you're getting some of the raw pictures here. So I'm adjusting the speed, Britt, on the cone back to 30 for this Delaware one.
I'm just going to zoom in here and just
then
show you
there you go.
exactly where this is as well. So if you're closer to the Dover area, you have at least another 20 minutes left of this particular tornado warning. So Steve, I will let you handle that one. I will get some more information on what is happening in the Philadelphia region, but we right now have 3 different tornado warnings that are currently in effect in our region that we are watching and that we are tracking for you.
All right, thank you, Britt. So if we go over to Max 2, and I'll switch over the source here so we can do some data touching here and get you the latest information. Again, these numbers getting close to 6 inches of rain. This is a flash flood scenario, very dangerous situation. But let's get over and into business with this tornado warning, because this is an extremely highly populated area in and around the Philadelphia area. So if we go over to our alerts, we'll zoom you into communities that are still being warned. And the National Weather Service, what they're doing right now is they're chopping the box as soon as the storm basically passes your community. So when you're not in the threat anymore, this box will begin to shrink in size. So let's get the latest check on where the storm is and who still is in threat. So remember, Chester was in that threat earlier on, no longer in that threat. And now it's kind of messy here. So let's go right back to the alerts and see that right here. Looks like my screen may have frozen up there just a bit. Are we on Max 2? Max 2? Okay. All right. Well, anyway, we have thunderstorm here. That is the potential rain-wrapped tornado. There we go. And here are the towns that are still in the threat zone. So again, this is kind of the mainline communities. We're talking about Broomall, Marion, parts of Philadelphia into the Nicetown section, Upper Darby, down in parts of Delaware County, right along the Philadelphia County border. And it looks like, Britt, they've actually changed the box here so that Philadelphia, the city, is no longer underneath that tornado warning. See how the colors have changed? That is indicating a severe thunderstorm warning. So damaging winds possible, but the area of the tornado potential is certainly back in this direction. So velocity, let's go over to that and see what's happening right here. There it is. It's right in this vicinity right here. So what we're looking for is a circulation. You see the red and the greens next to each other. Red, wind flowing away from the radar, green flowing toward the radar. When you get these very close together, that's where you have the spin, and that's what's happening right now. So let's put a cone on this. This is moving. Britt, could you change my cone to 50 miles per hour on max 2, and that way we can get the proper track on here. Each storm is moving at a different speed, so we have to manually put these in here. But again, this is the storm system right here that is happening right now in this vicinity. So we're looking at in and around the main line, Lower Merion. You're seeing that storm right now. And again, if you are done with the storm, let's say it moves by and you want to take some videos safely, send it to the See It, Share It on the NBC10 app. We only have so many reporters to go to so many places. That helps us out, but just make sure that you're safe about it, and don't do it during the actual warning. Do it afterward. But that definitely is the storm system right now. And it looks like my max system has just about had it, Britt.
Yes, let's go ahead and switch back over to max 1.
There we go.
So yes, like you were saying, there is still a tornado warning that's in effect until 5:45. We have a tornado warning that's still in effect for 5:45. Okay, so let's zoom you in. I wasn't sure if you were able to hear me. Upper Darby, Springfield, you were all included in this particular tornado warning. So let's take a closer look at what this is looking like while you reset your computer, Steve.
This is a real
There's
mess
so
because
much
we
going
have a severe thunderstorm warning over top of a flash flood warning with a tornado warning on top of that in the same area. We told you today was going to be a crazy weather day. This is what we're talking about. Multiple dangerous and potentially life-threatening threats at play right now at 5:28 on this Wednesday evening.
Absolutely, Steve. So what we are continuing to see is that there's a few different tornado warnings that are still in effect for parts of our area. So that does include some of our suburbs to the north and west. So if we just take a broader picture, just bear with us. This is a very moving, changing situation. We have,
as you guys navigate this, we are getting some reports from folks who live on the main line, particularly in the Ardmore area, talking about high winds. The trees are bending in these winds, Brittney and Steve. Obviously, in Montgomery County, taking a big hit from this right now, which is under this tornado warning right now that you guys are talking about. So definitely, they're feeling it there on the main line right now.
And can we talk also about the roads?
Yeah, so this is a community where we have, obviously huge thoroughfares going through this. We have the Blue Route, so that's going north and south. Obviously, always a busy roadway. Throw in this kind of scenario. You see on the top left box of your screen, that is the Schuylkill Expressway right now. Not great conditions, but that's actually not far from where that tornado warning is issued. You have 30. Again, these are your mainline communities that are getting hit really hard. So what I want to do is flip it back over. Again, you're going to hear this word, the velocity mode. What this does, we're looking for that circulation. Oh, wow. This is something else here. We got a very tight circulation. As Jim mentioned, people in these communities reporting potentially damaging winds. These bright colors that you see right now are potentially damaging winds. So let's see if I can put a value on some of these.
Yeah, we continue to hear, Steve, from our viewers who are out there in Montgomery County. They are saying that the rain is just pounding their rooftops. Thunder, they're hearing that as well. And they're worried because there are a lot of old trees in that area.
Yeah, a lot of old trees, and specifically, Rosemary Connors was earlier. She was in Gladwin, Lower Merion Township, where there are a lot of creeks and streams. That's why they're experts at water rescues there.
and just to go over everything once again, we have 3 different tornado warnings that are currently in effect in our area. So this is definitely a dangerous situation that we have now been tracking here for most of the afternoon and evening. Most of these 3 different tornado warnings are staying in effect until 5:45. So we have at least another 15 minutes that we're going to be watching this for you. We also have flash flood warnings. We have to mention that. Flash flood warnings are extremely dangerous as well.
So I'm using the radar, Britt, actually on Max 2 to plot some of the wind speeds, and it looks like we're getting 40 to 60 mile per hour wind gusts. So you're seeing that live on there. There's a 65. So the radar beam is, in the air. So this isn't right at the ground. It's pretty much right above the ground. But you got to remember that's transporting the wind to the ground. So there's the 65 mile per hour wind speed that's happening right there. And this is in the vicinity of Conshohocken. So there's Windmore, Cheltenham, of course. So Broad Street moving through here. Marion down here, Conshohocken, obviously the place where you get close to the northeast extension of the turnpike, which goes up north and east. Very heavy rain along there, very poor, visibility. And this is the area that we're looking at some of the stronger wind speeds. But our radar, we can use it for different ways, estimating winds 50, 60, 70 miles per hour. So some of that appears to be making it down to the ground, and that's why you're seeing some of that damage right now that's coming out of areas of the main line. I can tell you, if you live in Radnor, even Marion, conditions getting much better. So you can, get out of your safe place, the closet, the bathroom, and resume to normal life for now. But there could be more tornado warnings. So just pay attention. It really is upstream here. And Britt, do we still have these tornado warnings at play? I want to see if they've adjusted any of those boxes.
So let's switch you back to Weather Computer 1. We want to do a reset, which includes all 3 tornado warnings that we are currently watching for you. We have one that's part of near Philadelphia and some of our suburbs to the north and west. We have one that's right over Dover, and another one that's just on the borderline of Kent and Sussex County. And so as we continue to track these, we want to just show you where these tornado warnings are.
Here,
it doesn't look like my touch screen is working.
You're on Max 1, right?
I am, but it's for some reason it's not working.
Winwood saying she's in her basement right now, but she's looking out through obviously a small window down there, and she's seeing her dogwood tree just kind of folding in half from the strong winds out there.
She's in a good place. That's where you want to be.
Yes.
Oh, this is actually, Jim, this is a very nasty circulation right here. So this is West Conshohocken.
Yes.
I have a feeling if this continues, they're going to have to issue a new tornado warning with this storm.
That's the coupling you always talk about.
Yeah, that's
Yes.
the coupling, the strong, you see the bright, hot pink colors in the vicinity of the green color. So at the very least, what this is a pocket of damaging wind. So yeah, it doesn't have a real tight couplet with it, but I mean, you're going to get wind damage no matter what, whether it's a tornado or whether it's straight line wind damage. But that is a huge surge of wind. And as we mentioned, there are big trees. Pennsylvania is named after trees, Silva in Latin, trees. So this state has tons of them, big, huge trees. And so that's what can cause power outages. That's why we were encouraging you to charge your devices tonight so you can stream us, because this is just round 1. We want to keep you safe through round 2 and 3 that will come through. We're just kind of in the first game stages. All right, I'm going to go over to Rosemary Connors. She is in Lower Marion. You are right where that brunt of the storm came through. Rosemary, walk me through what you saw, what you're seeing now, and any possible damage.
Yeah, hey, Steve. Hey, guys. Yeah, we're actually right in Wynwood, right by the Wynwood train station in Lower Marion Township. Just going to give you a look out here of what we're seeing. So the rain is just pounding. I mean, it's been coming down really hard, I'd say, for the better part of the past hour or so. I mean, we started at the beginning of the 4 o'clock newscast. We were having a little bit of light showers, and now it's just really coming down very heavy, very hard. The wind, yeah, you can feel it, you can hear it. Fortunately, we're in an area where it's a neighborhood where there are many homes, so it's not like we have wide open space where you might have that open space to have those gusts come through and really knock something down. So for the moment, it's okay, but that water is just flowing. And areas that are flood prone, yeah, they're going to be a problem. Steer clear of those spots that say the road is closed. We'll send it back to you in the studio.
We're gonna take it back because we just got a new tornado warning. Our first alert meteorologist wanted to tell us about.
Talking about this, there we go. Tornado warning that would be extended. We said, hey, listen, this tornado looks like it's moving into an area where they're going to need to issue a new warning. Well, they've issued a new warning, so that takes care of that. So there you go. You see the indicators right here, brand new tornado warning. Just make sure that this is on the right source. We're kind of going back and forth here. So let's do, all right, max 2 and see what we got here. So we're going to clear this off, and then there you go. So this is the very tight circulation here.
Yeah, this is incredible. And this tornado warning is going to be in effect until 6 p.m. We were watching this cell as it continues to track to the north, and we knew that they would extend it into some of our other neighborhoods. So that gives you a little bit more time to move. If you're closer to Abington, if you're closer to, Ambler, this is the time for you to seek shelter as well. The concern, Steve, is also going to be anyone driving on 276. So if you know anyone that drives near 276, 309, 73, you definitely want to be taking cover
that whole area. So this is the northeast extension of the turnpike. This is Lower Gwinnett area. This is Welsh Road that goes up and down this section right here, Route 309. This is a very heavily populated area right now. Tornado warning here is the Pennsylvania Turnpike. It's 5:30 in the evening. If you know anybody that's out there in these elements, please give them the heads up. They need to pull off to the side of the road, make sure their seatbelt is on, and if they're encountering anything that looks dangerous, pull over to the side of the road. Don't get out of your car. Have your seatbelt on and actually cover your head. That's what we're talking about in this kind of situation. We're seeing that is a nasty return, Brittney.
There is another tornado warning. Let's go ahead and hit home right there so we can explain all the areas that are now under this warning. So this is a brand new one that's now just been extended into parts of our South Jersey suburbs. I know this is unprecedented. Look, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4 different tornado warnings that are now in effect at least until 6 p.m. If you live anywhere in these areas, you just really need to enact your safety plan, which should include heading to the basement. If you live in a high rise, or if you don't have a basement or access to a basement, make sure it's a bathroom, make sure it's a place that has no windows.
This is exactly what we're talking about this morning. Crystal was on with you. We were talking about the potential of an overlap of flash flooding happening at the same time of multiple tornado warnings, and here we are. The system had the writing on the wall, and we are at play now. So
I'm going to drive for you, Steve, so we can get a little bit closer, a little bit faster.
So that Montgomery County, Philadelphia County tornado warning. Let's get, here's the polygon for that I see. So Warrington, Bucks County, Newtown, Bucks County, and I believe it even went into parts of Mercer County. That is ugly. That is most likely a tornado. So, Britt, could you put on the correlation coefficient?
Yes.
And see what we got here. What we're going to do, the correlation coefficient looks for debris. Oh, there you go. That looks like some debris lofted. Not a whole lot, but when you see the blue colors here, that means that the radar is not hitting a raindrop. It's not hitting a hailstone. It's hitting something that we call non-meteorological. It's a non-meteorological target. Oh, it actually... There's a couple here, so there might be a few mini circulations. This one near Cheltenham, very concerned about too, and then over toward Windmore. Both of these are in the warning. Let's just turn it over just to make sure. Well, that's not telling us much here. Let's do the velocity. Yeah, there's actually kind of a weak circulation here, and there's your other circulation here. So that's not uncommon in these tropical systems that you just don't have one parent tornado. You sometimes have a mini one. That happened on July 29th when the Neshaminy area was getting that monster tornado. At the same time, that same thunderstorm was producing a tornado in northeast Philadelphia, a weaker tornado. But that is an ugly sign right now, right here. So we're going to stop the radar and pan over and get the latest track. And Britt, I'm not sure if the...
Here, I'll drive for you just because it's a little bit
Make sure that,
I
guess it's on 50 miles per hour if they haven't changed it.
So this is one that we're watching, but we haven't even mentioned the other tornado warning that is in effect as well for Salem, Stowe Creek, Bridgeton. We're not seeing as clearly defined rotation within this cell. This is a pretty large area as well to have a warning on. This extends from Collins Beach, Woodland, Bayside, Stowe Creek, up towards Salem, Paradise Lakes, Deerfield. You're all under a tornado warning. It's time for you to seek shelter.
So
Same thing for Smyrna.
So I think the banner can actually say multiple tornado warnings, multiple states right now. We have them in play in New Jersey. We have them in play in Philadelphia. We have them in play in the suburbs right now and even into central New Jersey. This storm right here, the Bucks County storm, is the one that concerns me most. Okay, so here's 202. That's the 202 Parkway right here. You got White Marsh. Okay, so the 73 is running right through here. So that's moving in the general direction up to the north and east. So let's see who's in that cone. All right, Horsham, 546. So on the other side of 309 on 63. 549 in Warminster. Bridge Valley at 556. Buckingham Township. You went through this last year with Isaias, with tornadoes in your vicinity, and Buckmanville there at 603. So I am going to go back to that storm in New Jersey because I don't want to leave these folks out, because another thing that is happening here, when the Weather Service draws these boxes that big, that means they have confidence that this could be a potential what we call long track tornado. It's not on the ground for just 15 or 20 minutes. It could be on the ground for even longer than that, for multiple miles. So the longer the box, the higher the confidence that this storm potentially is causing big problems over a big area. Look at this mess right now over Philadelphia. We have multiple tornado warnings. We have severe thunderstorm warnings. I'm actually looking at the Kimmel Center campus camera right now where that severe thunderstorm warning is in effect. I don't know if we can go to that live. It is just really just drenching the city right now. To give you some visuals of what's happening in Philadelphia at this moment at the ground level, the flags are flapping. People, the Kimmel Center campus camera, yeah, on Broad Street. Thank you, appreciated that very much. And you'll be able to see that it is just really coming down in the city of Philadelphia right now. Obviously, it's rush hour, and this is a problem, you know. There you go. You can see the streets are being soaked, so some of those heavier downpours in Center City, but that most dangerous part of the storm is not in Center City anymore. It's, okay, so it's on the west side of Philadelphia. There's so many warnings going on here. West side of Philadelphia, it's parts of Delaware County right now. For everybody listening on KYW News Radio, we are also streaming on your service too right now. To give you an idea, this is a horrible rush hour right now with multiple tornadic thunderstorms, flash flooding happening right now. We haven't even really talked about the 5 to 7 inches of rain that has fallen in 2 hours or 3 hours in Montgomery County right now. That causes extreme flooding. We're covering the tornado end aspect, but there is life-threatening weather outside of these tornado warnings. And Britt, I'm going to let you have it.
Yes, so just to do a general reset for us, and that includes, we have at least 1, 2, 3, 4 different tornado warnings that are in effect right now. So let's go ahead and...
Hey, we have a observed tornado. Observed tornado, Brittney.
Where?
So this is the... And that does not surprise us here. That is the...
Willow Grove?
Yeah.
There we go, yeah. So it is observed tornado, Bucks, Montgomery County, confirmed large and extremely dangerous tornado near Willow Grove. A large and extremely dangerous tornado.
That's from the National Weather Service.
That's from the National
right?
Weather
We went through this
Service,
on the 29th of July, and the last time that happened, you saw what happened to that car dealership when we were talking about large and extremely dangerous. So this is a life-threatening situation. You need to get into the lowest floor of your home, away from windows, and treat this. This is an observed tornado. This is not just our radar detecting it. People have spotted this tornado, and it's large and destructive. If you are in lower parts of Montgomery County, there's Limekiln Pike, 152. You're seeing areas like 611. Like Street Road, you know, you're in this thing. Maple Glen, we're seeing the conditions moving toward you. Brittney, what Brittney's doing is kind of zooming you in. It's kind of right here, this rotation, but again, this is an observed tornado. I'm going to turn it over to the correlation coefficient.
Let's do that, and also let's find out on the chat how fast this tornado is moving.
And if
We know
people
that
are
this
watching,
is still...
you guys,
Go
Brittney
ahead.
and Steve, people watching, if you're watching on your television, turn up the volume and head to the basement right now. Get away
Yes.
from the windows, or take your mobile device with you. You can watch us streaming on the NBC Philadelphia Facebook page. There are multiple ways to continue to get the information from us. If you have the app, you can watch us via the app in the basement or in the bathroom, wherever you can be safe. So
I'm just going to
a
put the
reminder
correlation coefficient on
Okay.
here real quick, and then we'll go right over to the track. Just want to make sure that if there is any debris aloft. Yep, there it is.
There
That
it
is
is.
debris.
You see that? That's incredible
That
to
is-
get. Let's pause it so we can see exactly where that is. Just outside of Ambler, just to the south of Maple Glen. Get you in a little bit closer there. Open Door Christian Academy. This is near Maple Glen Elementary School as well. And then is the National Weather Service putting a speed and direction tracker on
All right,
this?
let me check that out for you. Okay. All right. They've canceled a bunch of warnings. I'm just trying to make sure that we are good here. Mercer County continues in effect, moving northeast at 45 miles per hour. 45
moving
miles per
quickly.
hour. So what you're seeing with that blue spot, see how everything is red and then there's that blue target? That is telling us that is debris. That is either pieces of trees, that is pieces of people's homes. It's, it sounds very disturbing, but that is the reality of what that is. Sometimes it's just leaves that's being pulled out of trees, but given that this is a large and destructive tornado, I have to believe, given those colors, that it could be quite significant what's being lofted in the air, maybe people's roofs. So you have to treat this very seriously. Lowest floor of your home, away from windows.
That's right. And also we want to put a tracker on it so we can show you some of the neighborhoods that are still under this tornado warning, which includes Prospectville. You have about 1 minute. Neshaminy 550, Warrington 552, Tradesville 554, Bridgepoint 556, Doylestown, you're under this at 558, 6 p.m. Cross Keys, and 601 Doylestown. So if you live in this tornado warning box, if you heard your cell phone go off that says tornado warning, turn up the TV, move away from your living room, move away from any rooms that have windows. You want to be heading down to your basement. The difference between this watch that we were talking about earlier and when we start to say you are under a tornado warning, when we call out your neighborhood, that means it is time for you to move quickly to keep your family safe. Steve, let's go back to that velocity mode so we can see where this confirmed tornado
I just want to reset.
is.
We have 2 tornado warnings in our area. We have 1 in South Jersey. This is the one that we're spending most time on because this is a confirmed large and destructive tornado. So I'm going to put up the velocity on here, put in the speed of 40 miles or 45 miles per hour.
So this is it right
that
here.
signature is still very
Let's
ugly.
get a little closer so
Yeah.
it's a little bit closer to the neighborhood so we can identify
I'm changing
where
the speed right
you
now,
are. And
and
the
then
other
we'll zoom
concern,
in.
of course, is going to be some of our highways. So maybe you're not at home watching us and you know someone that's traveling near 276. That's not too far away from where some of the flying debris could be, some of these really strong wind gusts, which could bring down trees and power lines. And then this is still tracking here basically to the northeast. And so areas like Warrington, Doylestown, Buckingham, Salisbury, which already had a tornado, Delaware, Tinicum, you are all in this cone. It's time for you to move. It's time for you to enact your safety plan, which should include getting to the lowest level of your basement. Steve, can you move over the names there of the neighborhoods just to the right a little bit because the camera is blocking it. So I want to make sure everyone can see
let's clear it
the
off.
timing. There we go. That's perfect. So yes, this is tracking to the northeast here. I think this one's moving about, is it 35 miles per hour?
This one is moving at 45 miles per hour.
45
So
miles per
redraw
hour.
a cone. I don't know if you'll get some new towns on
This
there.
is a
for you.
really good signature here, and we already have the confirmation through the National Weather Service. So this is a dangerous situation, and in order to keep your family safe, you need to head down to the basement. You have to turn up the TV so you can still hear us, but not be sitting in a room that has windows. Head to the basement, make sure you're covering your head. If you do not have a basement, the next best thing is maybe a closet, or go to a bathroom if you're in a high-rise building. You could even go to your stairwell. That is also a safer place for you. So again, we have the confirmation through the National Weather Service of a tornado.
And
It
so
was
we're
closer
gonna-
to the Willow Grove area, but it's still tracking quickly, moving to the northeast
And so
at
what we're
45
going to do
miles per hour.
is, walk through people through the steps again, because we have been talking about towns. But if you live in these towns, this is what you need to be doing. Central room or basement. The object of the game here is to be away from your windows, lowest floor of your home. So that would be either a bathroom, a closet. Get your family in there until this tornado warning expires. The good part, these storms are moving fairly quickly, but it will be very intense for a few minutes of extremely intense wind. If you live in any of those high-rise buildings or condos, some of those townhomes, you really want to make sure that you're really in an interior room, again, away from windows. You want to cover your head, you want to cover your kids' heads, and you also want to make sure that you have the NBC10 app. And we're not just doing that to publicize that. It gives you information if you lose your power. And I got a feeling a lot of you are going to lose your power here so that you can continue to stream us and get these information in, because we may have multiple tornado warnings in the same place tonight. Tracy.
PECO is already reporting power outages of almost 9,000 people without power.
Right,
for
9,000
PECO.
customers.
Yeah. Yeah, PECO's already reporting about 8,600 customers without power.
So a
and you're
customer
right.
could be an apartment building, so that's a
course.
lot of people. So obviously a lot of people, hopefully they're getting warnings. If you know somebody that's in this area, Britt, let's go back to the radar picture. So we're spilling out these towns because some people lost power. Maybe they don't have a way to get their information. Their friends and family can text them and call them right now. Again, we're so concerned about this one because it's a large and destructive tornado that has been observed on the ground. It's not just radar indicated. We're not downplaying radar indicated tornadoes, but when you have a large destructive tornado that's been observed, that is a huge problem. So on your regular radar picture, you probably don't see it, but we flipped that channel over to the velocity mode. So this is Springhouse, so 309 that goes through Springhouse. On the north side of there, moving towards New Britain, Peace Valley Park, that whole area right in here, probably in for some strong winds and heavy rains. Luckily, it's a stormy night, so hopefully not a whole lot of people out here. And we're talking about the highways, too. So you got 202 Parkway going on here. You got 611 that goes right through there, through Doylestown. These are some major thoroughfares that are not good right now. It looks like we're watching video right now in the top left corner of Allentown. So if you watched at 4 o'clock, there was nothing going on. We had Stephen Fisher there. We told him things are going to start to heat up. Well, there you go. That's what you have. These flash flood warnings are serious flash flood warnings. We're talking about tornado warnings, but I'm telling you, the amount of rain coming out of these thunderstorms is not good right now. I'm going to go back over to the reflectivity because this is also a very important point. The amount of rain that's falling out of these storms is 2, 3, maybe even 3.5 inches of rain in an hour. To give you an idea, in our suburbs, it takes 1 inch of rain in 3 hours to cause flooding. We have guidance on that.
You mentioned that video, Steve, from Allentown, and Stephen Fisher actually just tweeted that police are in that area around Lehigh and 33rd Street there in Allentown. They're looking to shut down the roads because of the flooding.
Yeah. We want people to get home as soon as possible. We are in this for several more hours. Usually these lines are in and out. This is taking its sweet old time. We're going to get rounds and rounds. It's only going to get worse for those communities. Tracy.
And when we see this video, it's just a reminder, if police are steering you away, if there are barricades up, there's a reason that water is rising quickly and you're going to get stuck. We always say it, turn around, don't drown, yet we're going to see water rescues. We've already seen water rescues and we're still a ways to go.
Problem is your car stalls in it, right? So the first intuition is, all right, I got to get out of my car. The problem is if it's not enough water to move your car, it only takes 6 inches of fast-moving water to knock you off your feet. So that is where we've lost the majority of Pennsylvanians. I was just reading a stat this morning about how most of the flood deaths have been either in cars or people that are just trying to kind of get out of a situation. And this is happening over a huge area right now. If you follow all the greens, and I know we have tornado warnings happening right now and severe thunderstorm warnings, but the flash flood threat, flooding kills more people than anything else. And so that's why we want to keep you safe. Awareness, it's 2021, different ways of sharing this knowledge. Stay off the roads. These streams are filling up quickly from what I'm reading. There's a number of river flood warnings happening. Bert, what is happening with this storm system right now? I'm going to flip it over to the radar. Do we still have that really nasty cell? There's just so much going on right now. Actually, it looks like it's weakened just a bit. That would be a good thing. Yeah. So
and
it's
also the box down towards South Jersey has weakened as well.
That's not nearly what it looked like earlier. Now, still some damaging winds. We'll see if it cycles through.
Still fairly organized, enough for them to still have the tornado warning in effect until it looks like 6 p.m. So this could either expire or it could get extended a little bit further to the north of us.
What was that, Ori? I'm sorry. People driving through the floods. Okay, sorry about that. Yeah. All right. So, yeah, you can see the floodwaters. Where is this? Is this still Allentown? Where this is what we don't want people. Allentown. We don't want people doing this. This is exactly. Look at that. Look at that. This is not what you want to do.
Yeah, we're hearing from Deanna.
Look, and see in the middle of the channel there, that water is moving. So you get to 1 foot of water, which it's about halfway up the wheel caps there. You can start to float a car. SUVs, it's about 2 feet, give or take. So
we should remind our viewers that we're also simulcasting on KYW News Radio. And so if you are listening to us and you're driving, don't do what we have on the air right now, which is people just driving into intersections. that are clearly flooded, thinking that they can get through them, but they can't.
We're also hearing about flooding, from Collegeville to West Norriton. Deanna Durante has been out there in those areas and has been gathering video for us. So that's being sent into the NBC10 newsroom. We'll turn that around for you and show you what's going on in those areas as well.
Yeah, this is why we wanted people to get home. A lot of the kids, I think, probably got home from school before this happened, but these are the hours. Now we're getting to 6 o'clock. Gets dark around 7 o'clock now. Your visibility really drops quickly. And I have to tell you, now I'm concerned about this storm right here in northeastern Maryland.
Yeah.
Tornado warning with that. Britt, do you have anything on that?
Yes, we could see that crossing over into the northern parts of Delaware here. So we're going to watch that closely, but we still have a tornado warning that's in effect. Let's see if that's still just in effect until 6 p.m. If so, it will expire in just a few minutes here. That's one for us, yep, 6 o'clock, and then we have a second one which had a confirmed tornado near the Willow Grove area.
We're getting a report of an extremely dangerous tornado ongoing northwest of Philadelphia.
Okay,
the
so
Weather Service.
It has to be this one that is still tornado warned here until 6 p.m.
That was at 5:48. They put that out. Okay. So let's see. That has to be this one right here.
Which it has not been extended just yet. It's set to expire at 6 p.m. Let's switch you over to
I think that was
velocity.
probably while we were on the air talking about it. Yep, that's that storm.
It still looks relatively organized.
It's actually
still
getting healthier again.
Yes, which tends to happen here. They can cycle through. So we could see this extended out a little bit further, but right now, some of the neighborhoods that are still under this tornado warning includes Newtown. This is just to the north of Abington. Let's take a closer look so we can see some of the neighborhoods that are still included in this: Buckingham, Northampton.
And Britt, these are towns that literally went through the tornadoes on July 29th. These same communities are going through this again tonight.
Because this is where we are seeing like a pretty decent couplet here. So if you're just to the south, if you live in Buckingham, you still want to take cover. You are still under technically this tornado warning here until 6 o'clock. So we still have at least 3 more minutes. It is possible, if this stays organized enough, that we will see this extended into some of our neighborhoods that are just to the north of Buckingham.
So just north of there, we have multiple. Now we have a new tornado warning. So all right, okay, I'll say the first one first. We have Lower Providence Township, Montgomery County, just north of there. Multiple water rescues happening, ongoing. Lower Providence Township.
This is our new warning.
And now that's the new warning. That storm, Britt, is moving to the northeast at 40 miles per hour. This is a radar indicated tornado, but we've seen this before tonight where it's radar indicated and then we start to see people observing it. So we got to treat that storm extremely seriously. And I have to tell you, this is what I was talking about earlier in the show, the environment for strong, potentially long track tornadoes right along the Delaware River and just east of there. These could be nasty tornadoes.
We try to identify it. Sometimes you can see it really clearly on this velocity mode, and other times you can't. It looks like, although they've warned this area just to the south of Alloway, that looks like a pretty decent couplet there, as it's tracking, looks like, to the northeast, like all of these storms are. Did the National Weather Service
we have another tornado warning now.
All right, another tornado warning. Right. So let's wind up the picture.
All right,
and
these are very heavily populated areas, so we just got to go through all of them. So this new one, Britt, was just issued.
So we have 2. One is just to the north of Trenton, it looks like.
Yeah, Mercer and Bucks County, same areas that were impacted by the tornado on the 29th are now under a tornado warning again. This is radar indicated, moving northeast at 50. So what I'm going to do, Britt, I'm going to update your speed so we can do some. Are you on max 1 or 2?
I'm on max 2. I'm on Weather Computer 2.
All right.
This tornado warning that was just issued is in effect until 6:30. So we have about 30 more minutes. And that was the concern, is that it looked like on velocity that this was staying pretty well organized. And so now we have the extension here into some of our neighborhoods that were north of the other warning. Let's take a closer look
so you
know.
I'm going to put the velocity on here
where
for you.
To move.
There we go. Storm relative velocity. Let's do this. Oh, there we go. There it is.
You see it right there.
So I'm going to put the track on there for you, Britt. So there's the box. Actually, I think is this the box is extended up here? All right, let's just draw it for you. Northeast at 50 miles per hour. We have a lot of colors on here, so that's why it's a little.
And this is what we were saying. We were basically saying the neighborhoods that were to the north of Buckingham probably will become warned areas. They will probably now be under a tornado warning, and that's exactly what has happened. This is now in effect until 6:30, so we have 30 minutes of watching.
The Weather Service just letting us know So that Philly suburb storm, this is the one that we're talking about right now, is doing exactly what we said. It's cycling. So tornado may not be on the ground now, but definitely has potential as this thing cycles through. We talked about that, Britt. These things.
Let's put the tracker back on. I want to just call off some of the neighborhoods. So people that are under this tornado warning, this new tornado warning, know that it's time for them to seek shelter, because this was the same tornado cell that was closer to Willow Grove, but it continues to track to the northeast. And so now neighborhoods that are northeast of Warrington, northeast of Abington, closer to Buckingham, Forest Grove, 602. So you have about 1 minute before this is in the vicinity of your neighborhood. 607 for Buckmanville, Lambertville, 611. If you're near East or West Amwell, 613, 620, Hopewell, 622. And so this entire system, or this entire cell, is going to continue to track to the northeast, and this tornado warning will be staying in effect until about 6:30. Okay. So this is definitely concerning, Steve, the way we are seeing this couplet right here. Very
serious situation. And what we're going to do is we're going to reset right now, join Jim and Jacqueline, and then we'll be right back with more tornado coverage.
Yeah, you're watching NBC10 News. We have approached the 6 o'clock hour now as we've watched these multiple tornado warnings for the Philadelphia region. They are underway right now. You need to take cover and listen up. And let's go back to our first alert meteorologists, Brittney and Steve.
That's right. So as we take a broader look at what's happening right now, and that is the fact that we are down to 2 different tornado warnings. At one point we had 4 different tornado warnings. But the most concerning one is what's happening basically to the northeast of Philadelphia, because that one was a confirmed tornado earlier closer to Willow Grove. We could see a 3rd tornado warning, by the way, issued on Newcastle County as we look at this cell that's just outside. But we have these 2 different ones. This one looks like it probably was extended, Steve, because this was originally set to expire at 6 p.m. And now it's possible that it's going to go until 6:30, similar to the other tornado warning that's now in effect until 6:30. So we have 2 different ones here.
This one, the Weather Service also says, and we agree with it based on what we were seeing, is that we're getting another emergency alert system here. Flash flooding, which must be considerable if it's triggering an alert on our phone. They've revised flash flood warnings. Not everyone goes off on your phone. They only go off in really life-threatening situations. So that's happening in Philadelphia right now based on my watch. So anyway, tornado warning going on right now across South Jersey. Let's get oh, wow, there you go.
Yeah,
another
clear.
one. These are the ones that we were showing the other week, Brett. the very intense
clear
signatures.
couplet. I think everyone's going to really understand couplets and velocity by the time the summer season is over. We also like to look at the National Weather Service chat. That helps us see how fast this particular rotation is moving. A lot of these storms have been tracking to the northeast, ranging anywhere between 40 to almost 50 miles per hour, moving really quickly into some of our neighborhoods. Let's get a closer look.
These are very high-end flash flood warnings, Brittney. We saw this. They're not flash flood emergencies yet, but they are talking about life-threatening situations in some areas with the rainfall situation. We saw that video earlier. People driving through. That rain is collecting quickly, and it's not showing any signs of stopping. And the rainfall rates are 2 to 3 inches an hour. In addition to what we're seeing is potentially destructive tornadoes on the ground right now.
Yes, and just to recap here, we do have 2 different tornado warnings. I think the first thing we need to do is go a little closer to what's happening just to the north and northeast here of Philadelphia and name off some of these neighborhoods that are now under this tornado warning, which includes Doylestown, Lambertville, Pennington, Princeton, Buckingham. You are all under this tornado warning at least until 6:30. You can see the couplet there coming right out of Warminster, tracking to the northeast, right around 40 miles per hour. So let's put a tracker on this, Steve, and show where this potential tornado is going to be headed.
And this one, I believe, is the 50-mile-per-hour one. So
yes, which means it's moving quickly. You don't have a lot of time.
So what we're going to do is that, so this radar image may be a minute or 2 old, so we're going to draw the track just north of where you're seeing the couplet. And these towns, if you live in Buckingham, Solbury, Lambertville, West Amwell, Delaware, Sandbrook, Raritan, which is over in New Jersey, Montgomery over in New Jersey, You have to be in the lowest floor of your home away from windows. We are very serious about this. These aren't your run-of-the-mill tornado warnings. This is a similar situation that we were dealing back in late July where we had multiple destructive tornadoes on the ground. That's the kind of scenario that we're in right now tonight. So if you get this warning, if you are in the path, this is what you need to do. Great bold letters right here on our screen. You want to go to a central room, a basement. If you're in a high rise, to a bathroom. We are saying this because the windows are usually the first things to blow out. And remember, if you have trees nearby, they literally become like missiles, some of the branches and stuff like that. So it becomes a very scary situation. So if you're in those interior rooms, you want to be low, tucked in the bathtub if you can, and we will let you know when the storm has passed. So actually, I think that is an important thing to do because we were warning a lot of people, Britt. We'll get the situation of where the storm is. So Buckingham, you're still in play. Warminster, you're fine now. The tornado warning is now to the north and east of you. We are looking at this circulation right here. You see the big box. It's that one circulation that we're looking at tonight. Multiple tornado warnings on this Wednesday evening. We told you we issued this first alert on Monday. The reason why, this is a high impact weather event, potentially strong tornadoes. Oh, wow. That is not a good looking signature, Britt.
No.
Let's pause that one. So when you see the flare-up of the bright reds, the bright greens right next to each other, let's put it with the reflectivity, just make sure everything is, yep, that's a hook. All right, could you put the CEC on there?
Yep.
So that's a correlation coefficient. So we're looking for potential debris in the storm. So we're seeing the circulation, we're seeing the notch on the radar, we're going through all the channels here. Yeah, it looks like there on the last image, it might be, we'll have to see, it might be just starting to loft it up. So it takes a while for the debris, tree branches, leaves to get lofted up in the air for the radar beam to hit it. But it looks like,
Whoa.
yo, there you go. There it is
Wow.
on the update.
Describe what that is, Steve. Describe what that is that you're seeing that makes you have that reaction.
Right.
Oh, wow. I mean, we see the red and we see the dark colors, but specifically, what does that translate
This
to?
is still the CC, right, Brett?
No, that is still velocity.
Okay, so this is some extremely strong wind. So let's pixel that to see what the wind, okay, so it doesn't have the wind field. When we're seeing colors like this I have a feeling is a potentially strong tornado. Could you flip it back to CC? Maybe we have a new scan in here. The radar, does 360s. We get new scans every once in a while. Want to see if we have the blue there indicating potential debris, because that is a nasty looking signature. Looks like some stuff may be getting lofted. This is one we really got to watch. Let's put a track on that, Britt. Is this a 40-mile-per-hour storm?
Let's go back to velocity.
And also, what counties are we in? We got to
to
zoom out.
And also, just to answer your question, Jacqueline, the reason why we have that dramatic reaction is because typically we're only going to see the colors red or we're going to see green, and they're going to be far apart. But once they start coming closer together, that means the winds are traveling in different directions, and that helps indicate that there's some rotation there. And we rarely even see blue, but once we see the red and we see the green and they're coupled together, that's a good indication of our winds rotating, which means the probability is much higher that there's a tornado on the ground. So as
These winds are moving away from the radar down here, and then these winds are moving away from the radar there. That tells us there's a circulation there when the winds are that close together, rotating around. Brett, you can go ahead. Sorry about that. You can put that cone back onto the screen. So this is a dangerous situation. Again, we are tracking a tornadic thunderstorm in Bucks County right now into Mercer County, New Jersey. We're also tracking a tornado warned storm in South Jersey. I believe this is parts of Gloucester County and Salem County here. Zoom out just to get an idea of where we are here, and push this over here. Oh, of course. There we go. Let's get an idea. Okay, so there we go. So this is Salem County, moving into Gloucester County, New Jersey right now. Also tracking a potential tornado right here. See where the green and the red are? Right here? That's in Maryland, headed up toward northern Delaware. So if you live in Newark, the University of Delaware, you need to keep an eye on this storm. A lot of students back to school. This potential tornado is moving in the direction of the University of Delaware and the Newark campus right there. No tornado warning just yet. Keep your eye on it. And then we're watching this storm here in areas of Salem and Gloucester County. We're going to get some, ooh, there it is again, that tight circulation here.
What are some of the towns we're looking at in that area? Can we zoom in a little bit
let's
so
zoom
people know
in and see.
if they're in these areas to take cover right now?
This might be pretty rural out here. There we go. Piles Grove. Okay, so yeah, where are we with roadwise? So 40 goes in toward Atlantic City. We have 322 in and around Atlantic City. It's a lot of farm country in here, some subdivisions definitely going on right here. But yeah, this is along a main thoroughfare. Moving up to the north and east. I'm not sure. Okay, it looks like 45 moving up toward the north and east. So New Jersey, State Route 45. There's the New Jersey Turnpike, one of the most traveled roads in the country.
Be on the turnpike right now.
Exactly. Not a time. And wow, I'm looking at the Kimmel Center campus camera. Wow. The downpours are absolutely teeming out there. So your visibility, this is just one example, is not good. All right, so I see you have us on the Bucks County storm, Britt.
Yeah.
So this is the area of Bucks County. You start getting out toward river country. If you've done tubing and all those kinds of little adventures, some bike riding. This is a very scenic area, a lot of trees. Actually kind of hilly there by the Delaware River. That storm system, not quite as impressive right now, but again, it's doing what we call cycling through. This is the part of the storm we were worried about. We had those tornado warnings off to the west. It did produce some damage, but it's this zone, this environment right here. It's very warm, it's tropical, and it's right up against chilly air. And when we get that with a tropical system, that is the fuel with a jet stream for some long track, dangerous tornadoes. Hard to believe that we're saying this again this year, but that is the case that we're dealing with here tonight. So Brittney, what she has on here, there's a lot of boxes, that's the warnings. What you're seeing here are all storm reports that are coming in here. Also a very nasty cell right now in Kent County, Delaware. I would believe this one probably damaging winds at the very least, but we'll have to watch that. A lot of lightning generation here, cloud to ground lightning, and these things are rotating very quickly. There's so much spin in the atmosphere. I tweeted out last night, if you go to my Twitter account, what we call helicity tracks, these spins in the atmosphere, and they were all over the place. So that was something that we were looking at last night that was a big indicator of potential tornadoes today, and here they are. So Lower Gwinnett, tree and power line damage down. This is right where I grew up, right across the street there. So Maple Glen, possible tornado in that vicinity.
Right,
so,
these are some of the storm reports that we're now starting to get in, and it's really confirming for us what we've been talking about, which is the fact that we are seeing the potential of tornadic damage here in some of these neighborhoods. And also we're getting a lot of reports of different flash floodings and water rescues as well.
I got the question mark on for you.
I couldn't hear what you said.
Small creek in the vicinity of the Perkiomen Creek out of its banks. So these are the reports. I mean, tornado warnings are extremely important, but also these different water rescues that we've been tracking as well. So multiple cars stuck in over a foot of water at the intersection of 29 and Great Valley
It's not what you want to
Parkway.
see. It's getting dark outside right now.
This
Don't
is part
be
of
on the
that
roadway.
triple threat we've been warned about, right?
Triple threat. So we haven't even gotten to the river flooding part of this, which we looked at the gauges this morning. If you live along the Perkiomen Creek, the Neshaminy Creek, if you live along the Schuylkill River, if you live along the Brandywine Creek, we're talking about major flooding. I need to get this out. Major flooding in those communities tomorrow morning. If you live along those creeks, you have to be prepared to take action. We're talking about major stage. That is the highest that it gets. So we will be giving that information, and we're not going anywhere. We'll be here all night long and into tomorrow morning. Jim and Jackie?
Steve, thank you. And we do want to tell you that in the event the tornado warnings go beyond 6:30, NBC Nightly News with Lester Holt will air on Cozy TV.
Yeah, that's channel 248 on Xfinity, but we're going to stay on the air in the event those warnings continue because it's vital information for you. And we want to get out and show you some of the video that we've been getting into our newsroom right now from our reporters out in the field and our photojournalists. This is Montgomery County. Police responding to calls for storm damage there. You've been hearing about the severe storms moving through that area and the tornado warnings in that area. Wet roads, obviously. There you see a police vehicle on the side of the road. We've seen people clearing debris from the road on Ridge Pike in Lower Providence to try to keep the roads clear. But again, this is not a time, if you do not have to be out driving, it's best to stay home or stay put wherever you are.
And I believe we have a shot of a street in a neighborhood in Newcastle County, a street that looks more like a river. You can see all of that water. A viewer sent us this picture, this video from the Marshalltown section.
Brown, muddy water. right through that neighborhood. All day we've been warning you of this risk of flash flooding. We were just talking about this. This is part of the triple threat from the remnants of Ida. Look at what neighbors are dealing with. This is in Percy, Bucks County. So much water rushing through their yards really fast.
And we do want to get back to the radar in just a moment because that's important since there is still a tornado warning. But we do want to let you know that if you're inside your home, go to the basement, some precautions, go to a safe room or an interior room away from windows. If you're in a high-rise building, go to a bathroom, stay away from those windows and cover your head. All those precautions that are needed if you are under this tornado warning, which is very broad in our viewing area right now.
Hey, Britt, I just want to jump in real quick. New report now. This tornado is an observed tornado. So a tornado that has been observed on the ground. Hunterdon, Somerton, Bucks County. So what we're concerned about is Bucks County here. A confirmed tornado is located near Washington Crossing. This is the same exact area that got hit by the tornado a couple weeks ago. There is an observed tornado on the ground 9 miles northwest of Trenton and moving northeast at 50. Observed tornado on the ground. We are getting storm reports now out of Horsham, multiple buildings with roofs blown off along Norristown Road. Norristown Road is completely blocked with debris. Possible tornado observed.
So we're just going to identify where that is here on our radar. We're switching you into velocity mode. And when you start to see the couplet, you can kind of see it. If we put it back in play here, you can see it moving up through Norristown, just right outside of Norristown, closer to Warrington. And now it's starting to move into this area that is now warned under this tornado warning. And this warning, I think, Steve, is going to be in effect until it should be until 6:30.
This one is in effect till 6:30,
All right,
so we
so
got
if we
another
just pause
14
it.
minutes. We are getting a lot of real-time reports in here. So
It's not as organized as before.
no.
So
And they're doing what we call a cycle. So this is the same storm, believe it or not, that was over Lower Merion near Chester in Delaware County earlier this evening. This is the same storm. It's done what we call cycling. And we've had a couple of observances of large destructive tornadoes with the same storm. Hasn't had it on the ground the entire time, but it does what we call cycle through, lifts up and then comes back on down, and that's what we have right now.
And so we like to make sure we're reading all of the different locations. You need to take cover. 622 if you're closer to Center Bridge. 623 Stockton Elementary School. Hopefully no one is there. Sandy Ridge Church. All of these locations are in the path potentially of this tornado that is tracking to the northeast. So this tornado watch box, you can see it extends even past this elementary school, kind of closer to Raritan here, and this is where it ends. If Sandbrook is included in this tornado,
I just want to get one more
Point Breeze as well.
One more report out. We got numerous trees down all over the place in the Ambler area. Possible tornado reported. Ambler, Montgomery County, numerous trees knocked down tonight.
And we still have to mention that the National Weather Service has kept this tornado warning going as well, and that's in effect until looks like still 6:30. So it could
That's a nasty cell, Britt. The last
it
I
could
saw.
expire in the next. It looked like they chopped a little bit off of the polygon, which is always good. That means they're tracking the progress of this specific thunderstorm cell. So we know we don't have to worry about certain neighborhoods like Upper Pittsgrove is now out of the box, Piles Grove, Woolwich is not there.
We just got a new notification. You were talking about that warning. That warning is now capable of producing a tornado near Mullica Hill, or 14 miles southwest of Gloucester City. So they just put that info out at 6:18. So that's fresh stuff. Moving northeast at 40. So we can put a storm track on that, northeast at 40.
Right, there's Mullica Hill. We zoomed right in. And the other concern we've been saying is, of course, some of the roadways here. So obviously, if you're driving, you're not home listening to us, although you can listen to us on KYW. But as we take a closer look at Mullica Hill, closer to Sewell, Deptford is just to the north of this tornado warning. Again, you are under this tornado warning for at least another 10 minutes. You want to be very careful if you live in these particular neighborhoods. So Haddonfield is not quite in that tornado warning. Steve, if you want to just redraw that box for us and stop it right here, probably by Buckingham Village.
Let me clear this off for you.
We have another at least 10 minutes of
there we go.
this tornado warning. And you can see that's a pretty decent return there on our velocity radar. And what we're basically looking for, we've been saying this since we've used this technology a lot now, we're looking for a couplet. We're looking for the red and the green coupled together, and that's exactly what we're seeing, which gives us a pretty strong indicator that there's some rotating winds. And so as we put that tracker on there, thank you, Steve, everything is moving here to the northeast. So if you are closer to Buckingham Village, 626. If you're closer to Sunset Beach, 632. Blackwood Elementary School, you are all under this tornado warning. Let's go ahead and do a reset
Okay, we
here.
have to talk. Oh, okay, sorry, that was an old message there. They were talking about a cycling storm in New Jersey, but I think that's the one that we just covered. So
Can we talk about some water rescues going on right now in Montgomery County, because we're hearing from our reporters out in the field. This is important to pass along from Deanna Durante. Active water rescues right now in
Yes.
Fort Washington and Montgomery County, if you can pull
Well,
up that area on the map. But police there are saying stay out of the area because they're overwhelmed right now.
Yes, anywhere that you see the green boxes, those are flash flood warnings, which means we have identified areas of flash flooding, and everyone that lives in these areas, basically anywhere to the north of Philadelphia up to the Lehigh Valley out towards Berks County, is now under a flash flood warning. We have a ton of reports.
we have a new warning that they issued. I'm trying to figure out which one this is.
A new tornado warning.
Yeah, so it's in effect till 7 o'clock. So it may not have appeared on our system here yet, but this is for parts of Bucks County, Mercer County, till 7 p.m. Capable tornado located near Richboro, Bucks County, 11 miles west, moving northeast at 35 miles per hour. So again, this is a serious situation. That signature that we saw on the radar was really nasty. We would not be preempting night news if this wasn't a serious situation. This is, we've had large and dangerous tornadoes observed on the ground this evening in our area.
And so now we have these two different tornado warnings, just so everyone can make sure we're keeping everything organized for you. And that is, one should expire at 6:30 still. The second one looks like it's going to be in effect until 7 p.m. So let's go ahead and put a query on that one.
This is unconfirmed, but we have a firefighter that has reported in a large wedge tornado, which, Brett, we know those wedge tornadoes are rather wide near Mullica Hill.
Steve, also, do you see, I think we're now under a flash flood emergency.
Oh boy.
Do you see this
Yes,
for
we
Westchester
are. Yep.
up towards Limerick?
All right, let's go over to the warnings. Yeah.
So-
Flash flood. They haven't even gotten the data in the chat room. So
Okay, well, let me
all right.
query it here. And basically, you're going to hear your phones going off again with these flash flood emergencies. And this is an extremely dangerous situation. It's so dangerous that the National Weather Service categorizes it as catastrophic. So let's look at some of the neighborhoods this is affecting.
We are
at this
under a
time.
tornado warning, Brittney. Tornado warning.
And now we're under a tornado warning.
Burlington, Camden, Gloucester, Philadelphia counties,
Okay.
which is right overhead.
Okay, I'm going to step off so we can zoom in a little bit easier here. It's a little more difficult with the touch screen. Okay, here, let me zoom in.
Obviously, with cell phone technology, and we are all here in our studio
Yeah.
with these cell phones, these warnings are going off. But,
Yeah, which is good. I mean, this means that it's alerting people, and that is a jolting alarm, and as it should be. Okay, we're looking at I-95. That looks like near the Girard Point Bridge, not far from where this storm is. So, all right, let's get some perspective
Let's
here.
get you your velocity. Look at this.
Oh my
Look at this.
gosh! Sorry, these are raw reactions. When we see these, when we're in meteorology school, they teach us these things, and when you see this close together, it is a pretty serious situation.
And you say that because, again, you're seeing the blue, which, as you described earlier, Steve and Brittney, is that the couplet, so the red and the green coupled together, meaning there is rotation sparking the reaction.
Correct. So red and green, and the blue can actually be a whole nother level of intensity on this channel. When we're looking at what they call the correlation coefficient, a lot happening right now. Correlation coefficient, that is when we see those blue colors. That is when we're seeing debris in the air. So, all right, let's just kind of reset and see where we are. It is 6:24 on a Wednesday evening. We issued this first alert because back on Monday, because we saw this coming. We saw tornadoes and flash flooding coming. It is ongoing. This is a high impact, widespread area event. If you live in Philadelphia area, in our viewing area, and watching us, you're being impacted in some way, some more than others. So if you're not being impacted that badly, we apologize, but there's a lot of people in real trouble right now with these flash flood emergencies and tornado warnings. there's a lot of ongoing lightning with this, Britt. That is a very intense storm.
And I know we always focus on tornado warnings, but one thing we have got to focus on still is the flash flood emergency, which it takes us to a catastrophic level. It means there are many reports of flash flooding happening. It means people that live specifically in these areas are in danger. Let's go ahead and take a closer look at some of the neighborhoods that are included there.
This is a new thing that the Weather Service, yeah, there you go, catastrophic is what they're calling this. This is a good chunk of Montgomery County. So essentially, there's the Pennsylvania Turnpike right here. If you live north of the Pennsylvania Turnpike, we're talking about Horsham, Hatboro area, over to Montgomeryville, over to Lansdale, over into the other side toward Norristown, Trooper, up toward
let's take you in a little closer.
East Whiteland Township. Flash flood emergency means flash flooding is being observed. There are multiple water rescues happening as we speak, and this is a life or death situation. This is the high tier of warnings that we rarely go to, although now we've gone to a couple times this summer, of extremely dangerous driving conditions. If you live in this area, you absolutely should not be on the roadways right now. Stay wherever you are and just hunker down until this is gone, because flash flood emergencies, the Weather Service is not kidding around. They have the confidence through reports, rainfall estimates. This is a life and death situation here.
And if we can update our banner too, this is another really important part of this is the flash flood emergency that's affecting all of these neighborhoods. So we went ahead and zoomed you in. I also, Steve, turned on a lot of the storm reports. Let's start to query them so we can kind of explain the thought process
And these
behind.
are the areas that got the worst. So, all right, let's see here. There we go.
Okay, there, we showed that one earlier.
So some of these are also dated. So if they don't look that severe, these come over the course of a couple of hours. So let's see if we have any new ones reporting here. That looks pretty serious. Multiple cars. Yep, there you go. Stuck. We saw that one earlier. Let's see what the other one is nearby. And remember, these are people that are just reporting the storm reports. There's a lot of people out there in a bad situation right now that aren't reporting anything. And
I mean, this is Malvern right here. Flash flooding with a road near impassable. So we have impassable conditions. We're going to go ahead and toss back to Jim and Jacqueline to reset, and then we're going to talk a little bit more about the tornado warning as well, Steve.
This would normally be the time of the evening when we would be taking you to nightly news, but we do want to give you an update as we are approaching 6:30.
Yeah, we're going to stay on the air. Nightly news is going to air on Cozy TV. That is channel 248 on Xfinity. That's where you can get your national, international news. But we're staying with you here in Philadelphia because, as you've been watching, there are multiple very serious alerts underway right now, including tornado warnings. And right here on your screen, if you want to stop and take a look, this is what you should do if you are under one of these warnings. Go to a central room or basement. If you're in a high-rise, head to a bathroom. Stay away from the windows and try to cover your head with something that will protect your head because that's most vulnerable. But these warnings have been popping up one after another this evening.
We have a new tornado warning now. New tornado warning. Remember I was telling you about that cell near Newark, Delaware, near the University of Delaware? Well, that storm now is tornadic, and it is potentially dropping a tornado here. So let's zoom out for you, give you an idea of where we are. This is extremely busy thoroughfare here. We got 95, we got 495 going through here. A lot of people that commute south out of Philadelphia, tons of roadways down here in northern Newcastle County, and there is the potential of a tornado. So we're going to go over the velocity mode and see what that shows. So we're going to stop that here and then bring it up just a little bit. And we're using our touch screen here just to give us a better idea. So what we're going to do is move into this vicinity, try to get the Dover radar on it, and see if we can see anything. Now, sometimes it's a little hard for the radar to see. I'm not seeing it on this vantage point. Let's go over to the radar reflectivity. Yeah, so there's definitely a circulation in here, and so this is a problem. So we are looking at the storm. Brittney, how fast is this storm moving?
That one is moving, according to the National Weather Service, it looks like that one's moving 40 miles per hour. That's the one that is.
Should we put a storm track on that? All right, let's do it. Let's hit play, and then let's put on, so it looks like they have two tornado warnings. This was the Maryland one, separate tornado warning. This is the Delaware one. So let's just try to get the velocity one more time. Oh, there we go. All right, so we're starting to see it now. This is where the rotation is. Let's draw the cone. for this tornado warning. So again, it's in this vicinity, moving off to the northeast at about 40 to 50 miles per hour. So Glasgow, you need to be in the lowest floor of your home, away from windows. This is a new tornado warning. We have several right now. We're getting to this one in Newcastle County. Red line, 642. Christiana, 646. Newcastle, 652, so on the east side of Wilmington. Ellesmere, 655 right now. This is a storm system that is ramping up, so it wasn't tornadic before, but the colors are starting to brighten up. The storm is starting to pulse up and intensify. That's why they've went ahead and issued this warning, and this looks like it probably isn't that far from potentially producing a tornado. That may not be there yet, but this radar image may be a couple minutes old. So then on the new scan, we may be looking at something. But again, let's put the cones in here. Very populated area. Wilmington right up here. So, if you're coming up from Rehoboth, these are the roads that you drive on coming up north from the Delaware beaches. And this is moving off to the northeast at about 45 miles per hour. Again, some of the other towns that are in there, Range Hill Estates, 639. Lowest floor of your home. We're not kidding around in this situation. We've had multiple tornado warnings today. We've had several observed tornadoes, a few of them large and destructive. That's why we're on with you right now at 6:30 in this evening. We have multiple high-impact storms with potential tornadoes. This is another one over New Jersey right now. If you live in this area of New Jersey, you see on the top left of your screen there, it's just pouring in Center City right now. And actually, if I remember correctly, Britt, part of that tornado warning was in part of Philadelphia County.
Now, just to add, actually, from what is happening on the National Weather Service chat, we do have reports of a visual of a large tornado that's southeast of Mantua. So this one has been visually confirmed as well. And we can also confirm multiple rescues, people trapped in collapsed structures based off of scanner traffic. So these are some of the information that we're getting in from the National Weather Service chat.
So we were telling you about it. We didn't really see it on the earlier scan. Well, the new scan came in, and this is what we're talking about. This is a tornado. So this is strong winds away from the radar, toward the radar, close together. Britt, could you put the CC on there real quick, the correlation coefficient? See if we, obviously we probably have some kind of debris if it's a large tornado observed on the ground.
We do need to stick with this one since we do have the confirmation there visually of this tornado.
So there's probably some types of debris lofted in here. That's the blue color. What you're looking for are colors that are not alike. So you see a lot of red, a couple of yellows. You're looking for the one that pops out the blue. That's what we call the non-meteorological target, something that's not meteorology related. And so that could be debris. But look at the roadways that this is impacting tonight. This is 6:30 on a Wednesday summer evening. Highway 55. I mean, this potential tornado, let's go back to the velocity to see where, 55, right near Deptford.
So let's go ahead and track that. So anyone that's in that tornado warning zone knows that it's now time for them to take cover.
I don't know if we have any traffic cameras available from New Jersey to pull up here, but this is a very, very busy area. We don't? Okay. All right. Well, this is a very, very busy area of South Jersey. 55, obviously one of the back roads that you can take down to the shore. Luckily, it is Wednesday, so hopefully not many people taking that trip down there just yet, although it is Labor Day weekend coming up here. This is a very heavily populated area, a lot of suburban type of homes. We need you to be in the lowest floor of your home, away from windows. If you know somebody that's driving, have them pull over to the side of the road. There's a lot of big highways here, and if you've driven on 55, you know it can get really crazy when it's raining outside. It's pretty narrow in spots, so try to get to a safe place off to the side of the road, have your blinkers on, and wait for this to pass. It is moving very quickly, but that also means upstream you don't get much warning. So let's put another track on that, Britt. Okay, Belmar, 637, Audubon, 640, very heavily populated towns. Collingswood in New Jersey. If there's no reason why this circulation should weaken. These are the storms that we were talking about earlier this afternoon. We're concerned about long track tornadoes, not the ones that are just on for 5 or 10 minutes. These can potentially be on the ground for miles and miles. And this, I think, is definitely a long track tornado that's happening right here that is moving up close to 295 and the New Jersey Turnpike. It looks like they're on the eastern side of it. We have more flood video coming in right now. West Norriton, this is the area that's in the flash flood emergency. It's unbelievable that we're not even talking about that right now because we have a destructive tornado on the ground. There are so many layers right now. If you live in this area right now, we'll switch it over to the alerts, get everybody in that flash flood emergency. That is the purplish color that you're seeing right here. This is an extremely populated area. Also, the Schuylkill River goes right through here too, and some of the tributaries. So we have, looks like the Blue Route. Yeah, that's an issue right now. This is the East-West Pennsylvania Turnpike. We're talking about areas like Skipback, East Norriton, Hatfield, Lansdale, over to probably Harleysville. We're looking at areas close to Satterton under this flash flood emergency right now, which means when I showed you those rainfall totals, and this was about an hour ago, they were 5-6 inches. So I'm probably going to walk over to my computer and see what the radar is estimating now. That's a half a foot of water in about 2 hours. So that is pretty brutal stuff. And let's see what those rainfall totals are. And Britt, I'm looking at this, the wide view radar on Max 3, and there's a lot more rain to come.
There's a lot more rain to come, and we're slowly getting in just incredible video of just these not only water rescues, but cars that are just on the side of the road that can no longer pass through certain roads. And part of that is because of our flash flood emergency that is in effect to the north and west of Philadelphia. So let's take a closer look at everyone that is under this flash flood emergency.
Brittney, this this New Jersey tornado for Burlington, Camden, Gloucester, Philadelphia, a confirmed large and extremely dangerous tornado.
Okay, let's go back to that then. We have to just...
So this is a tornado that's on the ground. It's large and it's producing destruction as we speak.
Okay, and this is just to the south of Philadelphia. This is the one that's closer. It was spotted near Mantua. Is that right, Steve?
Yeah, I'm pulling up the towns right now. This was just a new one, so I want to make sure I'm giving out the towns. So they actually include Philadelphia in part of the tag, although actually there is another circulation near Philadelphia. So
it's, just to the south of Philly right there.
Yeah, so but I think the main one that they're talking about here is Gloucester City, Cherry Hill, Mount Laurel, Deptford. These are huge towns.
So this is the tornado warning box. It is in effect until 6:45. We are looking at, let's just pause where some of the potential rotation is here. That's just outside of Deptford. Everything is tracking to the northeast. At how many miles per hour? The National Weather Service basically has to tell us that.
It is moving, this is a very large statement, hold on, moving northeast at 40, so 40 miles per hour. So it's moving northeast at 40 miles per hour. Areas that are close to this rotation include Haddonfield, Cherry Hill, Morristown. If you live in these areas, especially 639, that's in 2 minutes for Haddonfield, you want to be taking cover right now. You want to head to the lowest level in your home, basement included. I know we have a live picture that we're putting up. And this is also impacting the Cherry Hill Mall.
Absolutely. So, I mean, hopefully everyone stayed off the roads, but if you are at home and you're closer to Haddonfield, Cherry Hill, this is the time for you to move as well.
Oh, wow.
Let's take that camera angle full if we can.
Comcast Southeast?
Yeah, that's overlooking Camden. So
wow, you can see the low ceilings there. What we call in meteorology. Oh wow, that may be the tornado on the ground. I can't tell.
Pull up where Camden is on here.
It's very far out there, but that's a possibility.
So again, the National Weather Service chat talked about it being extremely dangerous tornado right now.
Yeah. What are you seeing in that cloud cover and what you're seeing?
So I'm seeing a low overhang, but you got to remember this camera is zoomed out way far, and maybe that's not it. It could just be what we call a scud cloud. Hard to believe, but it's what we call lifted condensation level. I'm getting really specific here. What that means is when we have something like this, these tornadoes are really low and close to the ground. And so it's almost like a wall of clouds coming through. And a lot of times you never see that. And so that is exactly what's going on here. All right. Oh, there it is. So it looks like right here. New Jersey Turnpike. This is right over the New Jersey Turnpike.
Yeah, so anyone that travels along New Jersey Turnpike, if you're closer to 41-295, Cherry Hill, you are under this tornado warning until 6:45 as well. And again, this is tracking to the northeast. So
hit play real quick. I just want to see what the motion is on that. All right, so
you see that right there?
So there it is. Yep. So it is moving up to the north and east here. So
let's
we have
pause it and put a tracker on it.
The Turnpike. We got
Stop it
New
right
Jersey
there.
Turnpike, 295. All right, I'm going to walk out of the way for you so you can have these down.
Kennedy University Hospital. Anyone under this tornado warning box here, at least for the next 6 minutes, you want to make sure you're heading to the lowest level in your home. Let's do a reset. Let's widen out the picture once again and just show you there's still another 2 tornado warnings. So that's 3 total. So if you live anywhere in these areas, if you live just closer to Cherry Hill, if you're just to the north of Trenton, if you're just to the south of Newark, you are under a tornado warning, and you want to be very careful here. I think we just adjusted to Storm Ranger,
yeah.
but
We had Storm Ranger. I was actually looking to see if we could see some of the data from it, but
where is Storm Ranger
we may
parked
have put
right now?
the dome down. That was
Okay.
down in Oak Township. I was trying to see if we could see that circulation there, but okay. All right, we will go back to the regular radar picture here, and I think it's important we reset, Brittney, of everything that's going on right now, because there's a lot.
Yes, and here's the big picture, Steve. The fact that we have 3 different tornado warnings. One is in effect until 7 p.m. That's the one near Trenton. We have another one here that's just closer to the Cherry Hill area, staying in effect until 6:45. But if you live in Cherry Hill, Haddonfield, you're under this tornado warning. And it looks like finally we have the one that was in Newcastle County. That one has now expired. So now we are only focusing on the 2 different tornado warnings, but we also have to mention the flash flood emergency that's still happening here to the northwest of Philadelphia. So that's going to be an ongoing situation, which includes water rescues. That includes people having to turn around. That includes stalled cars. So that situation is dangerous and just a mess as well. But we did have a confirmation of this tornado here that's just to the south of Philadelphia, closer to Jersey. It was confirmed visually near Mantua. And now let's zoom in a little bit more and show you where we still have a tornado warning that's still in effect. This is
I'm
staying in
looking at the
effect
chat
until 6:45. So we have about 4 more minutes. We had that live visual there that's overlooking Camden, which is technically, let's take a closer look and see if that is actually
As you zoom in
under-
there, Britt, we're just looking at our input from our reporters out in the field. Sydney Long just emailed us to say that the Harrison Township Police Chief said he saw what appeared to be a tornado right by Barnesboro Inn, where he was having dinner not far from Mantua Township.
So, Jim, to add to that, we have now significant damage in the Mullica Hill area, including several homes damaged, trees down on Cedar Road. So that's not that far from there. And actually, I just got an update on Storm Ranger. We had to pull Storm Ranger down for safety. Obviously, we want to be near the storms. The tornado-warned storm was right over Storm Ranger, so we had to move our crew to safety tonight. So that's what's happening
I want to
there.
get a little bit closer here to where we're seeing some of the debris, and that is actually south of Cherry Hill.
Let me see if I can
near
put the
Haddonfield right now.
CC up
Sometimes
there
this
for you.
screen's very slow. Right, so you see how we're seeing these returns near Haddonfield here, near Cherry Hill, and we put it in motion. It gives us a good indication of the flow of the storm, and it looks like it's tracking to the northeast. Now, there is a possibility, although we said this was going to expire at 6:45, that it could get extended to some of our northern neighbors to the north of Cherry Hill if this stays pretty well defined here. Take a look at that. I mean, look, do you see that, Steve, right just to the south of Cherry Hill? If you just press pause there.
Oh, yeah. Let me push pause here. 1 sec.
So this is what we're watching. This is a pretty strong indicator potentially. Yep.
Right there.
Yes.
Yep.
Anyone in the Cherry Hill area,
Zoom in.
you want to be very careful.
So
you want to
remember,
make
this
sure
image
you are,
may be a minute or two old. So I mean, it's possible that the storm is like a little bit farther north here.
Go a little bit to the northeast, closer to Maple Shade, so we can see, just in case this is 1 to 2 minutes old data that we can.
Oh, here we go again. All right, so we got.
We have
Okay,
a live picture right
showing
now
Cherry
of
Hill,
Cherry Hill.
Live picture of Cherry Hill, New Jersey right now. Thanks for bearing with us. You know, obviously we have some severe weather in Philadelphia right now. That's why our phones are going off. It's one of those evenings where, depending on where you live, we have a lot of severe weather happening at this moment. That's
So now this has
you know
been
what,
extended,
Britt,
and this is what I
even
said.
on this radar, there's the hook.
Yeah, you can see it clearly.
Wow.
But we had a feeling that this was going to get extended past that 6:45, past that 7 p.m. Time frame, because everything is just staying so well organized. So let's switch this over, like we always do, into velocity
Oh,
mode.
there you go.
Let's take a closer look. Let's zoom you in. So yes, if you live in the Philadelphia area, our studio's in the Philadelphia area, you are hearing your phone go off.
This is for the tornado warning, believe it or not. So this is
a particularly dangerous situation, especially near the Cherry Hill area. So we cannot emphasize enough. You want to be taking cover. You want to cover your head. You want to head to the lowest level in your home. You want to head to your basement. We want to make sure everyone is staying safe. And we are definitely seeing indications that we're dealing with rotation and also a potential tornado just to the south right now of Cherry Hill.
Let's put a track on this, Britt, because they are saying in the chat that this has a history of producing a strong and destructive tornado with it. They're very concerned.
This isn't just any chat you're talking about, right? This is the National Weather Service.
So we're in, they have, just like us, meteorologists, one is just sitting there. His job is, or her job is to sit there at the radar and just look at it and analyze it. We're multitasking, so.
Whoops. Do you remember we were saying that probably some of the neighborhoods would then be included if they're just to the north of Cherry Hill? So we're talking, this has now been extended. I don't even know if the chat has it yet, but this has been extended all the way up to Salem now.
Yeah,
so originally it was stopping at Cherry Hill, but now it's been extended up towards Salem and Delaware. You are all now under this tornado warning. We also want to include Parkside, Palmyra, Cinnaminson.
This is in effect till 7:15, Britt, and if your phones were going off in Philadelphia, it's not for the entire county, at least for this. This is for like the Tacony section, the very northeast section of the city. So we don't want people to be too alarmed in Center City, South Philadelphia, Penn's Landing. This is for the area where this storm is moving upstream, which could clip because northeast Philadelphia kind of jets out like this toward New Jersey of a potential tornado. So that's what we're looking at right now with this storm. It has a history, and the Weather Service keeps emphasizing this, of a strong, destructive tornado.
And the other thing we have to point out, Steve, is the fact that, you know, a lot of times we emphasize people that are at home watching us, but look at how close this is to a lot of highways like 130, 90, 73. This potentially, as we're watching this track here, where we start to see the couplets, the red and the green coming together, and even this magenta color, that shows us rotation potentially. And as it continues to track here, mainly to the northeast, it looks like it is going right over some of the highways. If you want to zoom back in,
I'm gonna
Steve,
put
so we can see.
I'm going to put a wide track on this, and then I'm going to go up close. Because remember, when they put these boxes out, they're drawing them very long boxes, which means these are long track tornadoes. They're not just on the ground for a little while. So if you live upstream, I'm going to draw it to the end of the box. There you go, those towns. And then we're going to take this in tight, and Britt, you can read those towns off. But I want people to know downwind, this has had a history of a tornado for a long time, and a strong and destructive one. If you live in these towns, Burlington, Bristol, Levittown, if you're listening to us on KYW News Radio, this storm is headed toward you, has a history of a strong, destructive tornado, lowest floor of your home, away from windows, and don't be on the roadways. Let's give this a nice tight zoom, Britt, so we can get into those towns.
And as we take a look at that radar, we just want to let you know there's a reason we emphasize to go to the basement and stay secure because of this damage. And we know many people are without power at this time, and we knew that power could go out. PECO is reporting that 36,000 people are without power, warning people not to touch or move any downed wires, and consider all downed wires and energize extremely dangerous. Also, we're being notified that Trenton service is suspended. Norristown high-speed line not operating between Bryn Mawr and Norristown Transportation Center. The regional rails Thorndale service terminated at Paoli because of water over those rails, and flooding has closed 76 eastbound at the Blue Route. So all of that really important. And we know that there's a flash flood emergency, which is very rare to have a flash flood emergency in this area, Brittney.
And also, we've been mentioning, when a lot of times when we see these different tornado warnings or confirmation of tornadoes on the ground, not everyone is at home. Sometimes people are out driving, and you have to make sure you call your loved ones. If they maybe take 73 to get home, if they take 38 to get home, 70, you could potentially be seeing damaging winds right here. We could see wires coming down, trees coming down, and it makes for dangerous driving conditions.
If we could take the Lowe's camera, I've been watching, we have a camera panel on the back, the Lowe's camera, which is situated and looking toward northeast Philadelphia. You see the ominous skies there, and we watch this roll up from the south But that is in the general direction of where this tornado warned storm is going. So 73, the Tacony-Palmyra Bridge area, very popular spot, obviously for summer travel, is in a very dangerous situation right now. Again, the problem is this is over an extremely populated area, parts of northeast Philadelphia, but more over the river, Maple Shade, this area. And where you don't see the couplet and you see the bright colors, these are damaging winds that are occurring. So you don't even need to be in the tornado. Thanks for panning that around. You can see that low ceiling there. So again, that's off in the distance, but that may be a wall cloud down in part of that perspective, at least. It's kind of hard to tell from this vantage point, but wouldn't surprise me. The signature is there on the radar of a potentially a tornado on the ground. So this is a live picture of Gloucester County headed toward Mantua. Again, this is where we've had reports of damage. I also just read Fort Washington, Montgomery County. That's not what you're seeing here. Fort Washington, Montgomery County, down near where the Turnpike and 309 intersect. Multiple trees, large trees are down.
I was just looking at social media is sort of lighting up right now with people who hopefully have safely been taking some videos of what they've been observing, and just the velocity of the winds and the rain moving through that area. It's quite something.
And we're not out of this yet. So we were talking about this is a marathon. So this was just round one moving through. Here's round two, round three. This is going to be a long night. This is one of our tougher nights around here. You got to be weather aware. Until we get the actual cold front through, this is the remnants of Ida merging with the cold front. This radar looks way worse than it did last night in the south, and the reason why, the jet stream and this cold front is basically giving the remnants of Ida a huge shot of energy, and so that's why you've seen this situation go from 0 to 60 around here because of the jet stream dynamics that are going on here. So lots of thunderstorms, tropical connection because obviously it was a hurricane. And so the downpours combined with the tornado threat, the damaging wind threat. Now we're starting to get a lot of lightning with these storms, cloud to ground lightning. So power outages certainly going to be an issue now. It seems like we've had a lot of trees down. These power outage numbers are going to be going up. So we hope you charged your phone. If you still have power, charge up everything you can right now because we're not done yet. You may have gotten through this one tornado warning. It's not a guarantee you don't have another one or a third one. It's just that kind of night. So Cinnaminson over to Delran. It looks like we have a circulation going on here, moving up to the north and east. This storm has a history of producing a strong, violent tornado on the ground, moving off to the north. So latest towns. 653 Delran, Riverside, 655 Delanco, 656 Ben Salem, 701. So again, the outer edge of this clipping areas of lower Bucks County and Philadelphia County right now. Philadelphia, it looks like you're going to get a little bit of a break, but again, I want to emphasize this isn't over yet. We still have this line to go. This may be more damaging winds, but it's pouring in that line, and this is a flash flood emergency. Flash flood emergency is a catastrophic life and death situation, and that is happening in our suburbs. So hunker down in your home. Don't be out on the roadways. We have numerous water rescues, people stranded and in a scary situation right now. Jim and Jackie?
Yeah, Steve, we're getting some video into our NBC10 newsroom. We want to pass it right along to you. We are seeing this for the first time as you are. Some storm damage. This is along Oxford Road, Route 472 in Oxford in Chester County. You see the power lines, that power pole snapped in half practically, the dangling power lines. Again, that reminder, stay clear. If you see power lines down, you don't want to go anywhere near them because you're dealing with obviously water in the roadways, live power lines, dangerous situation.
You always want to assume that those power lines are hot. Rescue crews were in Westchester and Chester County helping people leave their homes because of all the flooding there. The Westchester Police Department sent us this video of that water and people trying to get out of that area.
We have more storm damage video to show you. This is from Chester County. Yeah, we see damage, roof damage to this home in Oxford. Large trees just blown over there in this severe weather.
Rescue crews were in Westchester and Chester County helping people leave their homes because of the flooding. The Westchester Police Department sent us this video. This is video we just saw moments ago. So we're showing that to you again. But yeah, when you see those power lines down, just really scary, and you want to avoid those areas if you can. Is Bucks County in this area as well? I know Bucks County, Stephen, Brittney was hit so hard at the end of July.
Oh, yeah. So
many of those families still haven't recovered from the EF3 tornado.
They've been under multiple tornado warnings tonight. One near Washington Crossing, which was where we had that New Hope area tornado. Now, unfortunately, in the Ben Salem area, tornado warning for that same area that was hit on the 29th. In the vicinity of that car dealership where we saw all that damage.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We
and
were out
this-
there.
We are now under tornado warning again, and this is a nasty looking storm.
And that was the concern, that it was going to extend to the north of Cherry Hill, right into that region, which is exactly what we're seeing closer to the Ben Salem area. So it is going to be in effect until 7:15. We have at least another 20 minutes left of watching potentially the rotation on this tornado. So as we take a closer look here, now at least it looks like Cherry Hill should be in the clear. Because it looks like most of the rotation that's returning on the radar has moved past it to the northeast. So now closer to Delaware, and then moving closer to potentially Ben Salem. But right now it looks like if we put a tracker on it, well, let's look at the motion here. It looks like it's going to miss the Ben Salem region. It looks like it's going to go closer to the south here. Let's put a tracker just to the south outside of Ben Salem. So the areas of concern still would include Edgewater Park at 7 p.m. So you have about 5 minutes. You are under a tornado warning, which means that it's time to move. Head down to your basement, lowest level in your home. Get away from windows. Cover your head. The second place here is Bristol. You have a few more minutes up until 7:05, but we do have this tornado warning, which will be staying in effect until 7:15. And you already showed a lot of the visuals, which are really kind of heartbreaking to see, just the flooded homes and also water rescues. And that's all associated with our flash flood emergency. That's that purple box there. And it's very rare that we see that. We've seen it one other time earlier in the summer. But that means the National Weather Service puts that threat at a catastrophic level. It just means we have a lot of different storm reports of not only water rescues, but areas of flash flooding. Definitely expecting damage to homes and some streets, and potentially a lot of cars that are parked within this very large box. Let's take a look at some of the neighborhoods that are within this flash flood emergency as well. And that includes places like Westchester. But we do have to take a look once again at the second tornado warning that's still in effect for parts of our region as well. So that's staying in effect until 7 o'clock. So we only have a few minutes left. Let's look at the velocity on that and see if there's a lot of rotation within this next cell. This box has been here for a while, so it's not as clearly defined as some of the other circulations we've been seeing today, but the National Weather Service still does have a tornado warning on this particular cell that's near the Hopewell area. So if you live in Hopewell, you should also be taking cover, seeking shelter, and heading to the lowest level in your basement. So at this time, we're at least down to 2 different tornado warnings, one that's closer to South Jersey here and parts of Northeast Philly, and then one that's just to the north of Trenton, in addition to some of the flash flood warnings that we still have in effect that's to the north and west of Philadelphia. And we also have to watch what's happening down here, Steve, because there is a severe thunderstorm warning that has now been prompted for parts of Lewis.
Yeah, that's right. And during these situations, we're going to talk over each other sometimes. It's just what happens with raw breaking information.
Yes.
Just so people know, we're not trying to be rude or anything. It is literally, we're just trying to get that stream of information out. And so what we have down here, as Britt said, another storm system down in central and southern Delaware. This storm needs to be watched. This environment, what we call, Britt, we were looking at this, we were texting about this for a couple days.
Yeah,
Of what we call those helicity swaths that we were tweeting about last night up in this area of rotation and potential tornadoes. So I'm going to hop off. Go ahead, and I'm going to see if anything new is in the chat.
Awesome. So we do have 2 different tornado warnings that are still in effect. One should expire in about a minute and a half. I know it starts to get a little messy with so many things happening on our radar. This radar has been lit up for at least the last, I think, 2.5, almost 3 hours. We've been on TV almost nonstop here, but we still do want to focus on this tornado warning just because we already had a visual confirmation of this tornado that was traveling through the Mantua area, tracking to the northeast. potentially have moved through Cherry Hill. Cherry Hill at least is now out of this tornado warning box, and now it's areas like Willingboro. Let's take a closer look. Let's zoom you over. Ben Salem is still included in this. Cherry Hill is under this tornado warning, but they're right at the edge, so they'll probably be cut off.
Speaking of
soon.
Cherry Hill, Britt,
Yes.
sorry to cut you off, but we got new information out of Cherry Hill of significant wind damage, and you were on the
there
TV
we
showing
go.
that.
Just
yeah,
happened.
multiple trees, wires down all over the place. Possible tornado. Time estimated from radar. And this tornado warning that you were just talking about is for Burlington County, Bucks County, Philadelphia County till 7:15, has a history of producing a strong tornado. Okay, we have a reporter out in the field, Isabel Sanchez. She's in Percy, Bucks County.
It looks like we potentially have lost her audio, but we can see
Look at
right
the
there the
pictures,
flash
though.
flood threat is incredible. Jim?
Yeah, this is what we're worried about going into tomorrow too, right? Brittney and Steve, is these rain-swollen creeks and rivers, flash flooding. This is not going to be over tonight, and it's part of that threat that's underway right now and will continue into tomorrow because the rain is going to continue for such a long period of time.
And
Right.
we warn people not to cross these flooded roads, and it doesn't take much water at all to cause damage. 12 inches of moving water, we know, can lift a vehicle. 24 inches of water can move a large truck, and it only takes 6 inches of fast-moving water to knock an adult over. So people see this water, and they often attempt to walk through it or drive through it, not knowing the danger that can come from it.
And Jacqueline, those numbers that you just gave out are probably going to play out tomorrow on areas that are near streams and rivers. So you've got to remember that these rivers, like the Schuylkill River, goes all the way up through Berks County into Schuylkill County, Pennsylvania, which is getting a ton of rain right now. Not only are we getting rain, all that rain has to drain down. So that takes a process. And so that's why, even though the sun may be out tomorrow, we may be dealing with rivers reaching major flood stage while the sun is out. Oh, I see what you popped up, Britt. This is all yours.
Yeah, so I've been watching this because the National Weather Service has not canceled it. And a lot of times when they do not cancel, and they in fact extend occasionally, then we know that there's a rotation or there is a cell that they're concerned about. So this one has been traveling through parts of South Jersey near Mantua, continues to track to the northeast. So it's just to the south of Ben Salem. If anyone you know or love travels 130, this is right over that area. And even if it's not a tornado that's well organized, it could still be causing damaging wind speeds that could bring down trees, power lines, make it really difficult to drive.
Yeah, the Weather Service now saying this is a developing tornado. They are pretty confident that this storm near Willingboro, so you got it right up here on the map, they are convinced that this is a developing tornado. We can't argue with that on the radar signature. That looks like the storm.
And what we've been seeing with these is the fact that although it looks like the box is really tight, when we start to see this well organized, look how well organized that is, we start to see the tornado warning box extended. So right now it looks like it cuts off right near Ben Salem, but we can look at this and see that this is staying fairly well organized when we get these bright color returns here. That there is the potential for the National Weather Service to extend this and include it in different neighborhoods, which would apply to 95 as well. So right now, Ben Salem is under this tornado warning. This is going to be in effect right now until 7:15. But again, it is possible the National Weather Service is going to extend this. And if they do, that means you have a little bit more time to act. But if you live to the north here of this tornado warning box, you want to start to get your game plan together. If you're closer to Middletown, if you're closer to Bristol, let's take a closer look. What's just to the north of Bristol here near 1395 Whitewood, Levittown, you could be under the next tornado watch box because it is a possibility just seeing how well organized this system is. And Steve, I don't know if they've issued anything else, but this, again, could get extended. I don't really see this expiring in the next 10 minutes.
So what you were saying, that tornado warning up here, apparently they have a severe thunderstorm warning here. Maybe if we flip it over to, we've been dealing with so many of these colors here. Let's flip it over to the warnings here. There we go, and get this situated. Okay, so this severe thunderstorm warning here, they are concerned about the potential of a tornado possible, but that is moving away from our viewing area, which is good. This storm system here, I don't see anything that has been issued just yet. But you were showing that reflectivity, Britt, and it was quite impressive. So I would not be surprised if a new one is issued any minute.
Now we want to head over to Stephen Fisher in Allentown. We have been concerned there about the flash flooding. There is still a flash flood warning that's in effect. Steve?
Yeah, Brittany, right behind me, this is an intersection, or at least it was an intersection, but right now you'd rather have a canoe than a car to try and get through it. We are here in Allentown. This is 33rd and Lehigh Streets again here in Allentown. This is a pretty busy area. It was very busy before police had to come in and shut this road down. That was about an hour ago. This really filled up here. You can see just how high it is, too, by some of these signs and some of these light poles here where the water goes pretty far up. Now, I'm not going to get anywhere near there, but it's at least knee deep on anybody average size. Now, we did see some cars try and get through here earlier. It was not a good idea. Take a look at some of this video from, again, just about an hour ago here at 33rd and Lehigh Street here in Allentown. We had two separate cars thought they could make it through this water, but as we all know, you shouldn't try and drive through any kind of standing water like that. Even if you can see blacktop on the other side, you don't know how deep it is. Both of those cars, one of them had to get pushed out, the other one actually had to get towed out. So both of those cars are in bad shape. Whoever was in those cars having an already bad day have an even worse day now. So again, we can't say it enough. You have to turn around. It's not worth it. And a lot of people, officials here in this area of Lehigh County, Allentown, are urging people, don't go out if you don't have to. If you are at work and trying to get home, please try and navigate your way safely. Use alternate routes. Again, you don't want to try and have to go through anything like this. Fortunately, police, they have blocked this off at both sections. They got cones. They also have some police cars with lights on over here warning people to turn around because nobody is making it through here, at least without getting stuck. So that's the very latest here in Allentown. Again, 33rd and Lehigh Streets. If you're in this area, avoid it at all costs. We're live in Allentown tonight. Stephen Fisher, NBC10 News.
My bad, Stephen. Yeah, thank you. And as you've been talking, we've been getting information from the mayor's office. There are 9 different streets closed right now due to flooding until further notice. Here's some new video just into us. Picked up from our traffic camera on New Jersey 55 at Deptford Center Road. Look on the left side of your screen there. You see the clouds kind of hanging down lower than they are across the rest of the screen. It's a view near the tornado that appears to show a part of that storm there, and our meteorologists can have better insights than the untrained one right here. I am not a meteorologist. But
looks like we have a tornado emergency.
Or another flash flood emergency.
No, Britt, this is
another.
Sorry to correct you. This is it's same color. That's how it's easy to think it is a flash flood emergency. This is tornado observed, tornado damage threat, catastrophic. Burlington, Mercer, Bucks County at 7:02 confirmed large and destructive tornado observed over Beverly or 12 miles southwest of Trenton. That's that same cell, Britt, that you were talking about.
This is the same exact color as, just to come back here. So we have a flash flood emergency. This is also, let's see if this one is.
Now, we've heard of tornado watches, we've heard of tornado warnings and flash flood emergencies, but Steve, you said a tornado emergency, something I have not heard before. So is that because of the catastrophic damage they noted?
Tornado emergency is something that you would have heard like in Nashville or Oklahoma City when a tornado is headed toward an extremely populated area. So Trenton being an extremely populated area, this is an emergency situation. And this is an observed large destructive tornado. It has what we call a TVS, a tornado vortex signature, which is the water print of a strong tornado on the ground. And that's why they're pulling this kind of alarm.
And Steve, just repeat the location from all the information that the National Weather Service is giving us, please.
You bet. So I'm going to pull this up here. All right, so 7:02, a confirmed large and destructive tornado was observed near Beverly, 12 miles southwest of Trenton, moving northeast at 40. So we'll put a new track on that. Tornado emergency now. Oh boy, so this is for Bristol, Croydon, and Burlington, New Jersey. So Bristol, Croydon, and Burlington. Bristol and Croydon would be lower Bucks, and Burlington right across the river in New Jersey. They're saying hazard deadly tornado. This is a life-threatening situation. So this is as bad as it gets. If you are in the path of this storm, what Brittney's doing right now is she's She's reading the warning info. It's moving northeast at 40. And we're gonna put a fresh track on that.
And if you're in this area,
You need
Said
move
it's right
away
by
from
Bristol?
windows, head to the basement if you can, away to a center point in your apartment if you're in a high rise, the bathroom. You can take the app with you on your phone. You don't have to be near the TV or turn the volume up. But this is a time to take cover, right, guys?
Yeah, so we're just trying to figure this out here on radar real quick to see where exactly it is. Sometimes you have to pull out and see where oh, there's the signature right in here, it looks like. Hold on, let's take off the sweeping radar. We're just doing an analysis ourselves.
And look at all
Here
the
it is.
warnings and
Yeah.
It's hard
alerts
to keep, yeah,
that we see today.
It's a lot, and it's easy to get confused because it's the exact same color as the flash flood emergency. But the bottom line with whether it's a flash flood emergency or this tornado warning is the fact that it heightens to a catastrophic level. So just to
Also, this scan may be old, so that's, oh, there we go. There you go, you got it.
now it's
There it
showing up.
is.
It wasn't showing
There
up
you
before.
go.
Okay, so it's
Boom.
right near Bristol. Do you see that?
So let's pause
So let's
it.
pause it so we can show you exactly where it is. Go ahead and circle that. So there's Bristol right there. Does it have the information where it's tracking?
Yes, so
Let's
the
go a
towns,
little
let's just fill
closer.
off these towns. Trenton, Ben Salem, Ewing, Willingboro, Florence, Burlington. If you're listening to us right now, you need to be in the lowest floor of your home, away from your windows, and you want to be preferably in a closet, a bathroom, lowest floor of your home, basement. Okay, got to get these towns out. This is a destructive, potentially deadly tornado.
Yeah, we're gonna
Bordentown,
stick with this, for
Pennington, Beverly, Yardley, Tullytown, Langhorne, Washington Crossing again, Windsor, Florence Roebling, Woodside, Edinburgh, Whitehorse. Okay, so we're starting to get up toward the central New Jersey towns, but this is a confirmed destructive tornado on the ground. We are seeing it with radar. We are seeing it observed.
And this was the concern when we said the neighborhoods to the north of Ben Salem, we said this about 5 minutes ago, should start to get prepared because this looked well organized and it was continuing to track to the northeast. So now we have, like, let's go over the neighborhoods once again, Steve. You said Levittown is included in that. This is just to the northeast of Bristol at this time.
Yeah, let me go back to the statement here. So again, we can't emphasize this enough. And I'm going to zoom in just to make sure that we're not giving towns that this thing's already passed by. So Bristol looks like you're out of it now, although you've already been hit hard. So we'll leave Bristol out. Trenton, you're still ahead of it. Ben Salem, looks like you may have been past it. Yeah, you're.
Let's put it in motion so we can track it and kind of get an idea of how it's moving through. So
There you go, yeah, so
right
it's out of
through
Ben
Bristol.
Salem,
It
yeah.
crossed right over 95.
So we're focusing now on, it looks like, let's just make sure, 'cause sometimes when you're too tight, you can't see where you are. Okay, so there's the New Jersey border. So we're talking about extreme eastern Bucks now. So we're talking about the Yardley, Tullytown neighborhoods, Langhorne, obviously, and then across the river. This thing is going across the river. You know where the Trenton-Morrisville Bridge is, the Turnpike Connector Bridge. We're all in that vicinity. This is a huge problem, a destructive, potentially deadly tornado. This is
think-
per the National Weather Service.
Let's go in a little bit closer to street level here so we can see. Now, typically we have a red box, but right now we have this magenta box, but it helps us determine the flow, which is mainly going to the northeast. So normally we say if you're in the red box, but if you're in this magenta box here, stretching all the way up to Trenton, you are the ones who need to enact your safety plan, which should include, we've been saying it all afternoon and evening, head to the lowest level of your basement. So this is going to be our biggest concern right now. You can see it coming out of Levittown. It's tracking to the northeast, so potentially moving closer to the Trenton area at this time, crossing over Route 1 there. Bordentown, you should take cover just in case as well. And the rotation here and also the track is mainly to the northeast here. So it looks like they may have, did they cancel that? And just switch it over to a tornado warning? It looks like it. Let's query
yeah,
it and see.
they may have downgraded it.
I think it has been downgraded. This is still a tornado warning, however, until
No,
7:30.
sorry to jump over you, Britt. They're calling it observed tornado damage threat. Oh, okay. So now it's gone from catastrophic to considerable. So that's
Right,
why you
so it
saw
was- yeah.
the change in color. What you were
Down
seeing with those
7:30,
purple colors, any of these purple colors that we are showing to you, if we zoom out for you, that Britt has been showing you all night long, those purples are emergency situations. So that was a tornado emergency. The other purple ones that you see are flash flood emergencies.
But the fact still remains, we are under this tornado warning until 7:30. So we still are potentially dealing with a extremely dangerous situation here, although it has been downgraded to considerable instead of catastrophic. Still, if you live in this area, if you live in this red box here, which is closer to the Trenton area, just outside of Levittown, if you know anyone that takes Route 1, 129, 32, just to the south of Yardley, technically Yardley is included in this as well.
So Britt, what I want to bring to your attention, some new information. The circulation looks like it's, which has a history of producing strong tornadoes, maybe cycling and headed toward downtown Trenton. And so the problem with a cycling storm is it lifted the tornado, but it's cycling back, and there's, it's not a guarantee, but there's a high chance that, and based on what I'm seeing with that latest scan, it's tightening up again. There is a tornado headed toward downtown Trenton right now.
That bears repeating.
Yeah.
So let's go over the information again, which is what to do in this situation, which just feels like deja vu. We were just talking about this a few weeks ago, especially when it comes to the Trenton area. And the concern is not just for people that are at home, but what if someone that you love is driving in this area near 295? So you want to give them a call, make sure they are staying weather aware as well. Hopefully everyone is at home with us and can go to the lowest level in their basement. Jim and Jacqueline will bring you in just to go over those details and what people really need to be doing right now, especially if they're closer to the Trenton area, where we are seeing this circulation heading that way, tracking to the northeast here, just coming out of the north of Florence. Did you get no information?
Yeah, so we obviously have some apps on our phone. There is debris now with this storm system, Levittown. Okay, so we actually have debris with this tornado. It's happening right now on the ground. This is headed toward Trenton.
And we're taking a look at some video that's there in the top of your screen right there, damage to some homes.
Where is she at
as you're
exactly?
describing this tornado headed toward Trenton.
This is a live picture from where, Imad?
Spotted funnel cloud with us as
Harrison
well.
Township, Gloucester County. Look at the damage to that home. Wow.
So
Wow.
And where exactly is that location? We see the video of these
Repeat
homes,
the town
one
one more
after the
Multiple
other.
homes.
Harrison Township,
Harrison Township.
Gloucester,
County.
This is
So
a
that's
live
farther to
picture.
the south. But this is the same storm. So this is the same storm that was down there. That's why we're calling them long track. That is moving up to the north. It cycles, so it puts down a tornado, can be a strong tornado, lifts up. But based on what I'm seeing right now on this, this is a very nasty signature headed right toward Trenton right now.
So the damage that we're seeing, these homes that were destroyed, that right now is headed toward Trenton.
Yes. Actually, now that with the latest scan, I mean, these are moving so fast. It is now, it went through Trenton. So we'll have to see what happened here. It is now north of Ewing. So it's, this radar scan is a little bit old. It is up to the
let's move
north
it.
here. So this storm now looks like it appears to be past the Trenton area, moving north, and its circulation is weakened. But there were some debris signatures right near Trenton as it was coming through. So there was some sort of damage. We don't know if, it's just tree leaves, but.
And we're
yeah.
also awaiting the opportunity to show video of tornadoes from Mullica Hill and Sewell. That same system, I imagine, as well as Harrison Township.
Yeah, so this is the debris that I was talking about that I was seeing on the radar. Just a little bit, not a lot, but this comes from a storm that produced what you just said, Jackie, the damage down to the south in Gloucester County. We were seeing that blue color down there. So,
And just to put
pictures
that in
again
perspective, it's about 50 miles away. So that's how long of a path it traveled between cycling up, weakening, and then re-strengthening and continuing on its northeast path.
We see homeowners here, outside, their homes just ripped apart. One of those homes, the car outside was also badly damaged. Look at this neighborhood.
Let's go to Sydney Long right now. Sydney, describe exactly where you are and what you're seeing.
Jackie and Jim, we're on Josephine Lane at Marvin Lane, and this is Mullica Hill right near South Harrison Township. We pulled in only 10 minutes ago. I can tell you I have never seen such catastrophic devastation from this tornado. We did speak to a man who saw the tornado. A lot of these families were making dinner in their homes. They said they could hear the rumbling. They urged their wife and kids to all get down to the basement. The home that you're looking at, we've counted at least 8 or 9 homes in this neighborhood right here in Mullica Hill that are completely ripped apart. Now, the home right here, my photographer John Marcucci is going to show you this home. I just talked to a man who knows the neighbors who lived here. There is a couple who lives here. There were 3 children. We were getting reports on the scanner that there were 3 people, or at least 3 people, that were trapped in the basement at 408 Josephine. I can't see an address on this house. I imagine this is number 408, and that being in the basement actually saved this family's life. A man that I spoke to a few minutes ago, and we have the soundbite back in house to roll if we like, but he's a grown man. He says he hasn't cried in 20 years, but he and his kids and his wife were in the basement, and their home is okay. They live a block or 2 away, but he came over here and shed tears for these families where their homes are ripped apart. Now, when we were pulling into this community, this neighborhood, there was an ambulance leaving. We've been able to confirm through some of the first responders that are out here also, guys, and through some of the neighbors, that everyone, thankfully, has been accounted for. But you can see on this block right here at Josephine and at Marvin in Mullica Hill, there are at least 9 homes, and that's just what we can see. Take a listen.
And I heard the rumble, and I seen stuff flying, and I told my wife and kids to get in the basement. And I looked out the window and I seen their house going, and the first thing I did was run over to their house to make sure they're all right, and they went over to their neighbors.
And we heard the alert come on the news. We didn't think anything was going to happen. Then all of a sudden you hear the rumbling, you look outside, and it's like, everybody get your butts in the basement. It didn't last that long, maybe 5 minutes, but once it was over, it's crazy. You could see the damage it did.
Now you can see one of the firefighters up there near the homes. They just marked a green X on this home. The firefighters and some of the first responders and personnel out here telling us they are working on accountability right now. Even as a news crew, they asked us to please just stay on the sidewalk and not to get any closer to any of the structures. The home next door, we could see a man and a woman who were hugging in the driveway. The roofs of these homes, guys, is ripped off. I want you to come with me right here across the street, John, if you'll walk over here. And let's just take a look. Bear with us, guys, with some of the first responders moving through, but you can see the side of this home just completely ripped off. You can see a closet. You see the siding. Their whole lives just completely ripped apart. It takes you back. The man that you just heard from a few minutes ago, he's got a 10-year-old son. I asked him, I hope you left him home. They're in the basement. The wife and the son are in the basement. They don't want their children to see this. He said they were at the dinner table and had just been explaining to their kids that, New Jersey doesn't get tornadoes. It doesn't happen like it does out west. And it feels a little more like Oklahoma or Kansas out here today, guys. Hi, Lieutenant.
It's just unbelievable to see these images.
We're live on the air. Can you tell us if you've been able to account for a lot of the residents and the neighbors here?
Every house we've checked,
what the green X means?
It means it's been searched.
The green X means it's been searched?
Yes.
Was anyone hurt?
Not that we know of.
Okay. Lieutenant, have you ever seen anything like this?
Not in Mullica Hill, not in South Harrison.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Ahmad, I think we need to head back into the studio. We are still tracking Sydney Long. That was amazing, but we're still actively tracking a dangerous situation that's moving through Trenton.
So I was looking at another circulation that was moving through. This is a potential tornado. It looks very healthy. This looks like a potential tornado in downtown Trenton. You got to be in the lowest floor of your home, away from windows. You do not want to be outside in this. And you want to be in a basement if you have one, an interior closet. But we are seeing a strong, tight circulation here that has just passed through the Trenton metro area, right near the Capitol, moving to the north and east. So these are all your roads that are coming out of Trenton that go out towards central New Jersey. But this storm, still very ominous, Britt. Looks like we have a new track that Britt put on, 724 Slackswood, 728 Louisville. But Brittney and I have been watching this storm. That's the same storm that Sydney was talking about. So it went through, cycled through, and then again put down a tornado. But we were telling you at 4 or 5 o'clock, the Delaware River, that whole channel into South Jersey, that was going to be your hot spot for these long track tornadoes, because that's where the atmosphere was in the 80s today. It was 60s up to the north. So, wow, what are we looking at here, Britt? Looks like, okay, so this is Northampton up here, Township, Slackswood. So, I mean, you can see these circulations. So there's a circulation right there that's moving off to the north.
Yeah, you see
and
how
to
it
the east.
just stayed organized and worked its way right up.
And look at the other one. Right there.
Yeah, we still have 2 different tornado warnings. I think a new one just popped up. It's
So
really
this is
hard
kind
to
of
see.
raw, as you can see. Stuff is just breaking minute by minute. These purple boxes that you see, which we've hardly even gotten a chance to talk about. This is a
Yeah,
flash
this is
flood.
another one.
Oh, wow. Go ahead, take that info, Britt.
All right, let's switch this over to our velocity mode so we can see here where this is exactly. There's a lot going on this radar, so sometimes it's a little hard to see. I know even at home you probably are getting a little confused.
I got to flip
yeah?
it over for you. There you go.
Awesome. So yeah, now we're in velocity mode. So this is the next one that's closer to. It's coming out of Warminster. I don't think we've talked about this one yet, right, Steve?
I cannot recall. I don't think so. And this is a new tornado warning?
Yes, this one is in effect until
we haven't talked about this one.
7:45.
Go ahead, read off those towns, Britt. I did not even see that one.
Okay, so this
Maybe
one
a fairly
is
rural area?
No.
Rather, this is highly populated as
Suburbs.
this is closer to Buckingham. This is Wrightstown. You are under this tornado warning. Newtown, Grant, Woodhill, Wycombe. Let me wind this out a little bit. Johnsville.
So to your point, it is sort of rural, but with some subdivisions mixed in here. There is plenty of farm country. Britt's been navigating around that.
We just saw those unbelievable images where Sydney Long was live in Mullica Hill, and those homes just destroyed, and people she spoke to heeded the warnings to get in the basement, and those homes, just a perfect example of why it's important to go to those lower levels. We saw the top floors blown off. We saw the sides gone, but the basements remain safe and intact. And with this storm headed to these towns, we know those people need to do the exact same thing.
And we want you to go to the basement and nothing happens. That's what we hope for. But we tell you to do this because we're seeing something that's really concerning on radar. And I think that is Sydney's shot there that's panning around right now. That storm was what we call a long track destructive tornado. This is the one I believe that had the widespread track there. It was large and dangerous. This is what the National Weather Service means. They have really good experts over there that are literally the only job that they're doing right now is looking at the radar at the moment, and we're heroes by putting out that warning just in time so that we can relay that information over. So we're thankful that those people did what they were told to. That's what we hope. You know, go to your basement. We hope nothing happens. We hope it's a false alarm, but you can't count on it, especially this summer where we've gone through tornado after tornado. Just a quick stat, we have now blown away the tornado record in terms of tornado warnings issued in a single year by our National Weather Service office. We were one below that yesterday, tied for 2020. We've just
Far exceeded
blown out
it
of the
now.
water.
And you've got some towns up there with times on them, right, for people who are in the danger zone, Steve?
Yeah, absolutely. So Brittney is kind enough to put up the cone with the latest town. So Wycoming, 729. Yeah, it sounds fatiguing when we talk about this for so long, but this is still happening. We still have tornado potential on the ground. So Pineville, 731. 733 in Buckmanville, 736 Deer Park, Lambertville, New Jersey, right over the river from New Hope now. We're talking about 738. These storms moving pretty quickly off to the north and east. Britt, is there anything new in the chat happening with that storm?
Surprisingly, no, not quite. I think they're still so busy, and we still have this pretty well organized potential tornado here that's still moving to the northeast, away from the Trenton area at this time, and moving towards, it looks like Lawrence, Sturwood, Hamlet,
So almost out of our region here.
Yeah, so that's if you're in the Trenton area and you're going up towards New Brunswick, Rutgers area, that's the road you take. Route 1, we're still seeing that strong signature in Mercer County right now. Strong reds, strong greens. I had my eye over. Oh, that's the one that we were talking about.
Yeah, I know. I thought there was another one
There's so
too.
many circulations going on right now with potential tornadoes. So, Britt, if we could you go out to the wide? We'll recap just to see what's out there right now. Wow.
So here we are.
Oh boy, that's a lot of warnings. Okay, well, let's just try to break it down one by one. So the purple colors that you're seeing here are flash flood emergencies. This is a life or death situation, catastrophic flash flooding happening in some of these neighborhoods. Don't go out on the roadways. We've had multiple water rescues, crews having a hard time getting to people. There you go. The threat is considered catastrophic. The National Weather Service does not throw out these terms lightly. They try to verify their forecast. So you have to believe when they're putting out statements like this, stay off the roadways here in Chester and Montgomery County. Flash flood warnings still happening in Philadelphia. That's the green colors that you're seeing here. The orange colors are severe thunderstorm warnings with potential tornadoes tagged on them. Not a guarantee, but a possibility. The red boxes are tornado warnings happening right now with either confirmed tornadoes or radar indicated tornadoes. So there's a lot of layers to this. Not only are you seeing tornado warnings, this area's gotten a lot of rain. Some people may not be able to go to their basement because it's flooding right now. So you got to go to an interior room, lowest floor of your home that isn't flooded if your basement is flooded in this kind of situation. Kind of unreal that we're talking about this right now. Looks like we're looking at more images just before dark right now. This is Sydney's shot. Obviously, what an emotional story that was that she dealt with. And this is emotional. You have children, you have people of all ages, families that not necessarily know where each other in the house.
She counted 9 homes in that one street that were heavily damaged, if not almost.
And we have to remember, this also traveled over some really major highways. So hopefully we don't have any incidents on like the New Jersey Turnpike, 295, those major roadways. But this tornado crossed over some of those roads during the middle of rush hour. So this is the result. What do you got, Britt?
The National Weather Service hasn't updated on this particular tornado warning. So we have about another 15 minutes left on this particular one, but at least we are just down to 1. And so if you live in some of these neighborhoods, we're going to start calling off here. If you're closer to Lambertville, you want to head to the lowest level in your basement. If you're closer to Little Italy, same thing. This is, again, tracking to the northeast, Wrightstown. So at this time, we like to at least just go over some of the different neighborhoods that are still under this tornado warning until 7:45. So it's possible they might actually let this one expire here. You're not seeing as clear of a rotation. There's some coupling with the red and the green here. And again, everything is tracking to the north. Did they issue something else, Steve? It looks like this
I'm seeing
magenta
a
box
flash flood emergency
is back, but it could potentially be
if we
the
check
flash flood
what I'm going to
emergency.
do is check the radar off just real quick just to see.
Maybe has been.
All right, so what do we got here? Okay, so severe thunderstorms in the state of Delaware. We have that right now tagged with possible tornadoes. We have flash flood emergencies extending, and believe it or not, underneath Trenton, where there's a tornado warning and a severe thunderstorm warning, underneath there is a flash flood emergency. So that's happening right now in Mercer County. You can follow that over the river into Bucks County.
And that was just extended while we were on air just now in the last 30 seconds or so. We just saw that because we went through just about 2 minutes ago all of the warnings, and that was not included yet, and now it is. So that means there are reports of flash flooding there. We still are watching, Steve, this tornado warning that is going to expire hopefully in the next 10 minutes. But until it does, do you want to, let's see, we'll turn back on our radar here so we can take a closer look at.
Warning now got extended to 8:15, we're being told.
Oh, wow.
Just was extended, okay.
So let's take a look. That means the National Weather Service is definitely seeing some type of rotation in order to extend this here. Let's just make sure.
It's radar indicated, Britt, which has come down from, we had catastrophic, I forget what the other terminology they were using, that was one step down. So this is radar indicated, but remember these have been cycling through. So we've
I just want to double check which tornado warning got extended to 8:15. Let's see. Yeah, it's the one that's over the Trenton area.
Trees and wires down Lawrenceville, possible tornado. We have multiple water rescues happening right now in Prospect Park, Mercer County. Multiple water rescues.
So I think one it has expired early, the one that was supposed to expire at 7:45, and we're just down to one. Are you seeing that as well, Steve?
Let me pop this over because there's so many colors going. Okay, so we're going to toss over to Isabel in Percy. Isabel, we saw you last time, and your audio was kind of hard because you were in the middle of what looked like a monsoon. It doesn't look any better out there tonight. What's going on?
Well, rain has slowed down a little bit, but that doesn't mean that flooding is going anywhere. I want to show you what looks like a river behind me, but it's actually a field. You see that yellow fence? It goes all the way to the end, but it's completely gone now. Honestly, very, very dangerous in all of this area. We're talking about the east branch of the Perkinomen Creek that overtook this park, the Frank R. Culp Park. It is absolutely flooded, a very dangerous situation. Next door, you have an apartment complex, and several of the cars are now underwater. I don't know if you can see it there. One of the vehicles is actually on, but it's mostly underwater. We saw some folks trying to leave the apartments before the water got so high. Some of them did. Others are still struggling in there. It is a very dangerous situation. We talked to some firefighters in the area who told us that at least 8 to 10 roads in town are closed, so it's really hard to get around. It is a very complicated situation, and they have had at least 1 or 2 water rescue in town. All of this happening within the last 2 hours. So again, when we say things change quickly, it gets really dangerous. This is what we are talking about. We've seen some folks walking around, taking pictures, and firefighters coming to them and telling them, just go home, stay safe, because things can change really quickly. Sending it back to you guys.
Isabel Sanchez, live in Percy. Thank you for that update on the flooding situation there. We know that a tornado warning is still in effect as you look at live radar right there, and we saw the damage from Sidney Long and the damage that storm did to those homes in Mullica Township.
And that same system now heading towards the Trenton area that our meteorologists have been watching very closely. Obviously a densely populated major city in New Jersey, Trenton, the capital, and it remains under this tornado warning until, I believe we said
8:15 now.
8:15. So we've got a ways to go with it as we look at one of our traffic cameras there on the upper left of your screen. Yeah, this is not a time to be on the roads. Traffic obviously does look light, but it's a dangerous time to be out there.
I'm going to switch it to velocity really quick, just so we can, because it's looking pretty well organized here. You see this, Steve, just to the north of Trenton here. So now it looks like it's doing a cycle, and it's just to the south of Princeton, and it's looking fairly well organized here.
So Princeton's actually on the northern end of Mercer County, so this is going to be getting outside of our viewing area pretty quickly. But let's just put, you and I were talking about this earlier, let's just get the cone on here for those first few counties as it moves off to the northeast. Obviously, we're kind of in the overlap of where people watch Channel 4 WNBC and watch us, and some watch both. So we want to make sure we get those towns out. So 744 Heathcote, 747 Kendall Park, New Brunswick 758, Piscataway 802. These storms headed toward the New York metro area. So if you know people that live up in North Jersey or New York City, given the history of these storms, please give them a heads up. They have some wild weather coming their way after all of our confirmed tornadoes now, not just radar indicated, right, Brett?
Absolutely. So we are almost done in our particular area, at least with the tornado warnings for the time being. So as we widen out the picture and take a look at what we're dealing with now, it mainly includes the flash flood emergencies, which really have extended now almost to the northern parts, just to the north of Philadelphia. You are seeing a flash flood emergency, and actually just to the south of Allentown here, we also have a severe thunderstorm warning affecting the central and southern parts
of Delaware, but at least we are almost done with the tornado warnings that we've been seeing throughout tonight. So we are basically just about to wrap up our tornado coverage here as this last tornado warning, which is mainly to the north of Trenton, just to the south of Princeton, is expiring for our region.
We know a tornado watch is in effect for our region until 10 o'clock tonight, even though this tornado warning will move out of our area. Is there a likelihood that we could see more tornado warnings pop up for the next few hours?
Yes, that's a great question. So we still do have that tornado watch that's in effect. And you can see there's still, let's see if I can widen out the picture a little bit more. There's still a lot of activity that's off to the west of us that is still going to be heading in our direction. So we're not quite done yet. And even once we don't have the tornado watch threat anymore, the next thing we're going to be concerned about is how much rain has fallen, and the fact that we have these flash flood warnings and flash flood emergencies that are still in effect into our early morning hours heading into tomorrow morning. Let's see how long this flash flood emergency is going to stay in effect for parts of, it looks like Chester County here. And then, yeah, Steve, this is awesome. So we're adding up how much rain has fallen. And we did expect, we were saying the potential yesterday of up to 6 inches of rainfall near Berks County. It looks like the latest query you have here is 8.2 inches. Where did that fall? Just outside of Coatesville, it looks like, to the south of Charlestown?
This is, yeah, right on. So you're in Chester County. There's Route 30 right here. Let's pop on the totals. Again, these are estimates, 9 inches of rain. This all fell within 2-3 hours. That is catastrophic flash flooding. When you get into 9 inches of rain, this, I don't know if people remember the headline back in Tennessee a couple of weeks ago when we had 15 inches of rain, and a lot of people got themselves unfortunately hurt or killed in that event. That was similar rainfall totals, just a couple of hours. 9 inches of rain in a few hours. This is why nobody should be on the road right now except emergency officials that absolutely know what they're doing and have the vehicles that are suitable to do this, because there are a number of spots now, and this is going to be the big problem, Britt, from here on out once we get rid of the tornadoes, is this flash flooding. It is bad in the suburbs. Bucks, Montgomery, across Chester counties, Delaware County, and where you're seeing these big magenta colors. There it is, that stripe right along the 202. It was like the 202 path there once you get over into Pennsylvania.
And another thing we could do is turn on our storm reports too. Those are very interesting to look at this time, because we are just slowly getting those reports in. And we're probably going to see a few of those confirmed tornadoes on there already as well. Yep. And that's going to paint the picture, as you can see, just how incredibly active this afternoon and evening was. That's where Sydney Long was earlier today near Gloucester County. And then we also had reports of this same tornado cell traveling to the northeast, cycling through, and then also potentially moving through the Trenton area. So we're starting to get these reports in here. Thunderstorm wind damage, spotter in Florence reporting a funnel cloud crossing the Delaware River. Another report of this is the tornado here near the Mullica Hill area. Several homes damaged, trees down. We, of course, have reports of different water rescues. So these are the ones that we're adding up. Perkiomen Creek near Gradford is out of its banks. What's the next one? Honeybrook Township, we have reports of flooding on some of our major roads. 322 near Rockville. So these are just all the reports that are coming. Many water rescues ongoing around Montgomery County. And the goal today was really to try and keep everyone safe today, knowing that we were going to have these tornadoes breaking out, knowing that we were going to have so much rain fueled by the tropical moisture and the remnants from Ida. That flash flooding was a concern. We kept talking about the triple threat today, which included flash flooding, a high tornado risk, and the last thing is those severe storms. So
we have a radar confirmed tornado near Princeton right now, happening right now as we speak.
Say that again, Steve.
Radar confirmed tornado near Princeton, New Jersey. So this is still ongoing, Mercer County.
Another populated area, obviously.
Yes.
Yeah, and although technically we're moving out of our viewing area, someone that lives in Trenton maybe knows someone that's near Princeton, they can call them and give them a heads up. And so we still want to make sure everyone's staying safe. This tornado warning is in effect until 8:15. It's been extended by the National Weather Service.
Look at that signature, Brittney, right there.
definitely dangerous.
Let's see if there's debris with this too.
You're looking at the color combination there, the red and the green in that circle that you had up, and then the multiple colors that would indicate debris.
Right. So we were looking for debris on this channel, but the one that I had up, Jim, was this one, the storm relative velocity. So what this tells us, there is an intense circulation or twisting of winds that are happening right here. Right along Highway 27, 206, obviously a big highway in and out of Bordentown. This cell moving, is this northeast at 40? I believe this is the northeast at 40.
Yes.
All right, so let's get a track on it for people so they can get to the lowest floor of their homes. Remember, we saw what that does. Get to the lowest floor of your home away from windows. It saves your life. We saw Sydney's live shot. People that did that made themselves come out of the situation okay, and that's what you got to do in these situations. Lowest floor of your home, basement, away from windows. Here are some of the towns in front of us. So again, this is moving up towards central New Jersey. Still a strong, tight circulation. This is that area that we were really concerned about for the potential of strong, long-track tornadoes. So it's, again, moving out of the Princeton area, but the Weather Service, one of the meteorologists over there who's very, very good, mentioning that radar indicated tornado was there on the ground. So that's moving up to the north and east at 40 miles per hour. Again, there's a lot of travel. It's a summer Wednesday. We're the 1st of September right now. People are going back and forth on the turnpike. This is a dangerous situation. You don't want to be out there. Number one, the visibility is bad. It's dark out now. We have potential tornadoes out there. So let's just get through this tonight, get through the river flooding tomorrow, and then we have a really nice stretch of weather coming our way. The first one that we've had in weeks here this summer. But we still have a few more hours to go of the rough stuff. So we really need people to keep paying attention for these new warnings and to keep acting as we've done all afternoon long. Anything new, Britt?
Well, one last thing to point out, and then we'll send it back to the anchors, is the fact that we still do have severe thunderstorm warnings that are in effect for still our viewing area, although that tornado warning has basically pushed away from us. So we're not out of the woods yet, as they say. So we are still going to be dealing with these really heavy downpours, these thunderstorms that are capable of producing wind gusts upwards of 50, 60 miles per hour. These alone, without the tornadoes, can bring down trees and power lines. So again, you still want to stay weather aware. This could still damage your home as well. And so this severe thunderstorm warning, it's really even hard to see it at this point, is in effect until into our 8 o'clock hour. So the next thing we're going to be tracking as we get a little bit of a break, at least from these severe thunderstorm watches, severe thunderstorm warnings, is the fact that we have to deal with all of the flash flooding potential that all of this rain is leaving behind. So now we'll send it to Sydney Long, who is out in New Jersey right now, Mullica Hill, South Jersey, where we did see a radar indicated tornado, and now you are checking out and surveying the damage. Sydney.
And Brittney, I can tell you that the residents out here were listening, they were watching, they were in their basements. The power of Mother Nature and the tornado that ripped through here appears to have come right through this path, but this is the worst destruction that I've ever seen from storm damage and tornadoes in South Jersey. It's hard to even tell what you're looking at, Britt. Just the home crumbled on top of itself. To the right here, there's a door. It appears there's a whole room. Maybe the laundry room is here to the right. Against the car is the garage wall. We're seeing part of the swing set that is in the front yard. If you look back here in the debris field, there's a silver car that appears to have been pushed back out of the driveway into the yard. So I want you to see in the distance the comparison. The home over here to the left is standing and fine, and this home is completely destroyed. When we arrived, we were talking to neighbors. We have spoken to some of the residents in one of the homes that was damaged. We do know that the residents in this home were in the basement. In fact, we were hearing on the scanner that first responders, police, and fire were coming to 3 people that were trapped in this basement. We've come to the family who does live here, does have, and that everyone has been accounted for. Everyone is okay. You saw in our earlier shot, the police and fire were marking with a green X on the homes that have been searched and have been accounted for. They're losing daylight now, but one of the lieutenants did confirm that everyone is okay. If we look out here to our right, John, you can see just more of the debris field and the homes in the distance. I know it may be difficult to see as it's getting dark out now, but at least 9 homes that we've been able to count that were destroyed, partially or nearly fully destroyed in this neighborhood. The van in the house across from us, the seal is ripped out of that holds the windshields and the glass into the car. The seal is ripped out of that van. The entire roof and back wall of this house is ripped off. They look like doll houses. The neighbor next door here, Troy, I asked him directly, he and his kids and his wife were in the basement, and I said, Troy, the basement saved your life. And he said, it did. His daughter is my daughter's age. She's 12. She's starting 7th grade. And we assured her that, things like insurance and great parents are going to make sure that everything is okay going forward and that they would rebuild. But right now, they're just trying to take this all in. It's hard to process even, really just the enormity of the power of this tornado. We also sent some video back to the station, so I'm hoping to turn that around too, of some folks that were making dinner, talking with their kids about, tornadoes don't happen like this in South Jersey. It's okay, we're gonna be okay. But they got those alerts, they got those warnings that we all got on our cell phone this afternoon, and they went into the basement. So a number of families are also shielding their children to come out here and see this. That's the latest, guys. We're in Mullica Hill, and people are going to be picking up the pieces for quite some time. Back to you,
Sydney. And it is just remarkable how you see one house standing untouched and others around it destroyed, which we see often with tornadoes, and just the line that the tornado goes, others unaffected.
Yep.
Sydney, thank you. And thankfully, everyone, as far as we know, there is accounted for. Take a look at the incredible video of the tornado that was caught on camera in Mullica Hill. Mullica Hill, of course, is where Sydney Long is, and you can see just how dark those clouds are, and that is the tornado we are looking at.
And the damage we saw speaks to the power of the winds that move through that neighborhood.
You can see it spinning right there below, right atop those trees.
You and I seeing this video for the first time kind of gives you a chill. And when you see what it did to those families' lives, pieces of their lives just scattered about.
In just 5 minutes. They said it moved through in 5 minutes, and then it was gone.
Want to take you to another piece of video that's just into our newsroom, another viewpoint here, Mount Holly. We believe this was recorded. This was sent to us by a viewer around Mount Holly. Again, you see the dark clouds, the low clouds, what we believe is that funnel rotating down from the sky. This caught from by one of our viewers. Cars there staying still.
And you can hear someone yelling, look at that tornado.
Pulled off to the side of the road.
And we always ask people not to be on the road if at all possible, and of course to only record video if they are safe. But here they had nowhere to go, and they stopped, they pulled over, and they recorded what was in front of them, and we saw the damage it did.
So we're starting to get these videos in. We're also starting to be able to establish better contact with some of our reporters who've also been out there riding out these storms, and one of them is Tim Furlong. Tim, I understand you're in South Chester County?
Yeah, we're in Lincoln University, and I wanted to show you this. I called the station and said, we got to put this on TV. We got to show you. This is not really a stream. Somebody just asked me, a producer asked me, Maureen asked me, is this a stream? I mean, I suppose there's a stream under that bridge over there. This is not a stream. This is just runoff on a field here that is basically washed out Township Road. Now, we've seen some macho people coming through here in their trucks. We've seen more people, and this is a good thing, deciding it wasn't a good idea to try to go through it in their truck or even in their little Kia, or the Pat's Pizza guy that was just here decided it wasn't a good idea. That is a good idea to not go here. It's hard to see because it's getting so dark, but if you look over there, you can see this is all backyards and field right here off of like 896 out toward Oxford area. That's all underwater right there. I can see a road way in the distance. I see people going through a road that probably shouldn't be. I also see an above ground pool that is basically a pool within a pool at this point. So it's very dangerous. Not good idea to drive out here in this part of Chester County. We've seen lots of trees down. My sister lives in Oxford. I saw some pictures she sent me of
Trees down on Route 1 by Route 10 there, that area, 896, those areas. We saw a lot of trees down. Of course, the big thing too, and I talked to somebody from DelDOT a few minutes ago, tomorrow the Brandywine Creek in this part of the of Chester County, Brandywine Creek runs through a lot of it. It's going to be a nasty day tomorrow as all the upstream water comes all the way down. The Brandywine River Museum, I was there earlier today, they are on flood watch tonight. They have crews sleeping there tonight. Basically, they're probably not going to sleep, pumping out water, because this, what we're seeing right here, this is what they're going to see there too. If I can get some light on that, it's hard to see. There's a little bit of help. They're trying to pump out the water as it comes in. It's an uphill fight. I mean, this spot right here, again, this isn't a stream. This is just water running down off a field. And people have tried to go through it. Looks like there's somebody on a bike there. Also not a great idea to even try that. But as you make your way out into Chester County, some of the low-lying areas down off US 1, behind Birmingham, those areas, into Chadds Ford, down in that tight little valley. It's all the Brandywine Valley, but then there's really tight part of the Brandywine Valley, and that's where the Brandywine kind of jumps over its banks every now and then. So Chadds Ford's going to be a problem. And then as you head into Delaware, Delaware down, going through the Hagley Museum area, Breck's Mill, all the way to Brandywine Park in downtown Wilmington, all the way out until it can sort of get out to the Christina River, get out to the Delaware River, and kind of taper down a bit. And you can see the rain is not letting up. In fact, it's picking up here again. So it's a nasty night. Keep looking at that radar. Keep listening to Channel 10 for the instructions. I've talked to a lot of people that said what Sydney just said, which is they've gone in their basement. When they've been told to go in their basement, they take the app with them. They have the TV on. They just turn up the volume, even if they can't take the TV with them. Everybody just doing what they can to stay safe. And folks at home, my family, if you're watching, your family, everybody, please be very safe out there, because it is pretty dangerous night out here. Live in Chester County, Tim Furlong, NBC10 News.
We know you've been moving around throughout the afternoon. Can you describe for us what you saw and heard as you made your way to try to find these areas where the flooding is already occurring?
Well, the rain bands made it so tough. I mean, literally, like, people would have to stop underneath the. I'm hearing an alert in my phone now too. People would have to stop under the underpasses to sort of, just get out of the rain, because it was raining that hard. Again, down by Hank's Place, if you know that area of Chester County, the Delco-Chesco line right there by the Brandywine River Museum, those are the areas. It's already ponding. It was ponding 2 hours ago. The rain was coming down, and this is heavy rain. I mean, take a look at this. It's picking up here again, too. We're talking about heavy rain. Even a little earlier, it was car wash rain. It was like as heavy as if you were taking your car through a car wash, where you really did need to stop and pull over, maybe go into a Wawa and get under the cover, where the gas pumps are and stuff, because it is that dangerous. I'm sitting here looking at this guy like you're looking at this person, and I think you're thinking the same thing I'm thinking, Jim, and everybody watching
don't
home.
Go through that.
Don't do it. Please don't go through it. That is a bad move. You see, like, there's white caps. That's what we're looking at here. And folks, that's what we're asking you. Just, nothing on this side of the road could be that important. Even if it's home, just go back, get to higher ground, wait this thing out a little bit. It's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. And we have Steve and Brittney and everybody back there, telling us how it's going to go. Just pay attention to what they're saying. We're going to get through this. But driving through this water is not a good idea. And now there's a stack of cars, which, of course, there's peer pressure, which, again, I'm going to wave this guy and just tell him not to do this.
Now.
No, bad idea.
You can see the volume of water. You can see how swiftly it's moving. And the headlights from that car are enabling us to see it so clearly, what you were describing, Tim. This is a situation you do not want to move through with a car.
And the cars following behind you. We know it only takes
Look
12 inches of moving water to lift a vehicle, and 6 inches of fast-moving water can knock an adult over. And we see those cars going through, which we never advise, because you do not know how deep that water is, one after the other going through.
And if that sweeps you away, you don't even know where you're going to end up, because, again, it's just the whole field is no longer a field. It's a lake, essentially, with a good current going through it. So it's more of a river. So just not a good idea. Not a good idea. Be safe wherever you are. Stay home and watch TV, guys.
That right there, a good reminder. This is going to be going on through tomorrow. You're going to see high water in places where there were roads. Do not venture through. We will continue to stay on the air as needed to bring you the latest on this severe weather that's been moving through our area, and will continue to pose a threat through tomorrow.
And make sure you have the NBC10 app to stay updated on our information, as many people have lost power. We'll keep you updated as we know, and of course have the latest at 11.